30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Andrew Bogish is in for Andrew Perloff today as Pearl's taking a much-deserved vacation. And we'll get to some preseason stuff from last night. Anthony Richardson's Pinky, which is going the opposite direction of the way Pinky should be going. We'll get to Joe Burrow and all of that, Ashton Genty. But, Bogues, good morning. I mean, Archie Manning is just the latest to kind of put out the tea leaves here that Arch Manning, no matter what happens this upcoming college football season, is going to be returning to Texas for a senior year. I just don't understand why they're putting limits on it. Like Arch could ball out. Texas is the number one team in the country. If he is the no doubt first overall pick in the NFL, I'm not sure why they're so hell-bent on sending him back to college.
Why are they also hell-bent on making our friend Perloff correct? We don't need this. He's been saying Arch is not going to be in the 2026 draft for weeks, if not months. I don't need Archie Manning confirming Andrew Perloff's hot takes. But aside from that, I pick a word: perplexed, befuddled. I don't get this. Like, this does not make sense from looking down from 10,000 feet on this legendary, this third generation quarterback from basically Pop Warner. He's been put in this position to be the guy at some point, and now we are apparently signing up for 4 years of college football.
Right.
2 just hanging out behind Quinn Ewers, no pressure to play, no push to play, and now he's finally the guy, and we've already got Grandpa going, yeah, he'll be back next year too. I just don't understand if he's that good. If Paul Feinbaum is right and he's the next Tim Tebow, why are we just hanging out in Austin for 4 years?
Yeah, to me, it's not so much a question about whether he's good or not. I think you believe the Mannings are like hiding something, or like they're not sold on their own, offspring or what have you. What I wish the Mannings, and they know this, so I'm not breaking any news to the first family of football. But I think what they would understand, because of all their actions, is that it really is not about how much college football you play. It's about where you land in the NFL. That's it. And Peyton Manning went to a place in Indianapolis that was kind of down in the dumps, and he brought them back. But he was also went to a place where he went 3-13 his first season and was just a turnover machine and did not get the type of heat that he may have gotten if he was maybe somewhere out in New York or something like that. And by the way, he did go to Indianapolis. The Mannings did not want him to go to the New York Jets. So they did actually make a calculated, decision on where Peyton would go. Eli, they manipulated the whole draft just so that he wouldn't go to San Diego, where Phillip Rivers ended up going, and he's going to have a Hall of Fame career. But they wanted Eli to be in New York. So the idea that Arch has to get like a certain number of starts under his belt or whatever, to me, is missing the forest through the trees. The real thing about being a great professional football player is a part of it is the luck of the draw. And ask Caleb Williams about it, because that first year stunk. Ask Trevor Lawrence about it. That first year stunk. And on the flip side, ask Patrick Mahomes about it. You land in a great place in Kansas City, get to sit behind Alex Smith. Andy Reid is there. You're gangbusters. You're awesome. And now you're part of a dynasty. Same thing, Jalen Hurts. Like, it's just, about making it about this like arbitrary, we've got to finish this college thing, to me just misses the point. It's about where he goes in the NFL. That will determine where he lands, ownership, coaching, the rest of the roster, that will determine his NFL future.
So what are we doing here, though, now? Are we in your basement with your murder board up? Do we have pictures, like headshots of GMs and, like, strings connecting them? Like, so can they not...
I'm building that now.
Can they not control the coming draft, so they're focused on 2 drafts from now? I don't understand.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand it either, because I think they've already shown that they can manipulate the draft to a certain extent. You know, I don't know if you can go from 31 or 29 to trade all the way up and get where you want. But if it's a team that they want him to go to, Arch that is, and that team happens to be picking in the top 10, I think that the Mannings can make it happen. Like they could say he's not going to show up. They just have a lot of leverage and a lot of power that quarterbacks generally don't have.
So they have leverage and they have power if he goes out there and throws for a bleep ton of yards and touchdowns.
Sure. Yeah, he's got to be good.
And if he's really good this year, if he's at the Heisman ceremony in Manhattan in December and they're in the CFP and they're winning games, like that is when their peak power is going to exist. So it just, I can't take out the football part of this, because if they really believed that he was going to be like his uncles, then they wouldn't, at least if I was them, trying to put myself in their shoes, I wouldn't take anything off the table. The fact that they're taking the draft, the next draft, off the table, there has to be a football portion of that decision. Because that, I can't not think that this is, he's not ready, he's not good enough, or maybe they don't trust the rest of this Texas roster, and they think that he's going to look bad because he's not getting protected. He doesn't have guys to throw to because of all the losses from a year ago. They're
the number 1 team in the country.
I know,
obviously, the coaches poll at least thinks they're a really great team.
And we're going to get to Ohio State, who doesn't have a quarterback, and they're number 2. So the coaches poll might mean even less than it normally does this time of year, and it's just all about reputation. But the facts are, like, they're returning a handful of people across their 22 starters. So there's a lot of change, including him taking over at quarterback number 1. So there's something does not line up correctly.
Yeah, you think it's fishy. Are you fading Arch Manning? It sounds like you're fading him.
I think they're making me fade. They're making me doubt him.
His grandfather.
And I'm not. I'm not the only person that has said this out loud. It's, if he was so good, why wasn't he playing last year? If he was so good, why didn't he walk in there when they were gifted the Quinn Ewers injury, the door open? They didn't have to just straight demote Quinn. They could have put Arch in there. He could have lit everybody up for a couple of weeks, and they went, see, guys, now we have no other choice. He's got to play. And instead, they basically put Quinn back on the field the second he wasn't going to harm himself again.
Yeah.
And hurt himself, as if they didn't need Arch out there. This is not how things normally go, even for the Mannings.
Yeah. I have no answer for how Quinn Ewers kept the starting job. And, you know, the game against Georgia, when things got real hairy there, remember in the first half, they threw Arch to the wolves, and then they go into halftime, and they went back with Ewers. So I have no answer for that. I don't know. I know something fishy that happened with me last year with Arch was they were using him a little bit in goal line packages, and he was having to like lower his shoulder and try to get to the end zone. And all of a sudden that just stopped. So I don't know if a call came in from some Manning somewhere that said, cut that bleep out. Like, if he's not going to be the starter, we're not coming in for him to be some human battering ram at the goal line. Use your running backs for that. You know, come on, Sark. But that's just my theory. But I have no answer for why he never beat out Ewers. What I know about now, though.
Well, by the way, just the last time you were out, Perloff and I were here, and we had a similar debate because it was right after Feinbaum made the Tebow comment. And Perloff, I would answer you right now by saying, I don't know why this happened, because I kept saying that. And he's like, this was the plan. This was the agreement. And again, why are you agreeing, if you're the Manning family, to have him not play for 2 years? He can't be good then.
Yeah.
And if he was crushing it in practice, at some point, Sark would have went to whomever he needed to talk to, Cooper, Peyton, Eli, Archie, all of them on a Zoom, and went like, guys, I know
Zoom.
I know this is what, I know what we talked about this and whatever, but he's better than Quinn, and I have to win games.
Yeah.
Can I please play him? And I can't imagine they would have been like, no. So the only assumption that I can get to is that he's not as good right now as we think he is.
Yeah, I can't get there with that. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. By the way, it's going to be trial by fire a little bit for Arch because they start off the season gangbusters in the Horseshoe against Ohio State. So he's really going to get thrown into the deep end. I'm curious what the public thinks about this, what you guys think about it, because I think when I think of the Mannings, and I know we're on in a lot of college football towns all over the country, and I know Peyton was huge at Tennessee, and I get that Eli and Archie were both legendary at Ole Miss. But when I think of the Mannings, I do think first about their pro careers. And that is like what I associate them with the most. And to me, it's like whatever Arch does at Texas is not going to be the full story. It's not going to be the legacy. When we think Mannings, we think number 1 overall picks, we think Super Bowls and long NFL careers. And I just think he has to land in a place that's going to be good for him more than he has to leave this really amazing college legacy. And I think that's what ultimately he's going to be judged on. If he did not have a great college career and then goes to the pros and kills it, I don't think we remember like, oh yeah, remember Arch, like not that impressive at Texas, but man, look what he did when he got to the Rams or whatever.
Right.
So that's, if they're thinking about that legacy-wise, Manning's to me first family of football when it comes to the NFL.
Which is again, like, so you want him to be there. Like that, the end goal is the NFL. It's not to win a Heisman. It's not to win a national title at Texas. The end game is to be the third remarkable Manning quarterback, fourth in the NFL. Like that's the goal. So why are they so in not a rush to get him there?
Yeah, 888-710-4ISN. And the other part, too, is about, like, a human's development. You could say, listen, they have all the money in the world, so this is not a situation where he's rushing. First of all, everyone gets paid in college now. But also, it's not a situation where some people have financial issues where you've got to rush to get to the league because I got to get a family into a better situation, into a better neighborhood. I've got to help pay off this, that, and the other. Mom's working 2 jobs, want to get her off her feet. All that stuff. This is not what we're talking about. This is a very well-to-do family. And to be honest, I don't know if money is the motivator, because if money was the motivator, I don't know if he would have even gotten to this level. You can't fake it when you're playing football. You've got to care. So, I don't think that he is necessarily motivated by money, but the same bad teams in the NFL kind of stay bad. Like, think of the top of the draft every year. It's kind of the same team. Like, it goes through cycles.
Right.
But, like, the Browns are up there and the Jags are up there. And, you kind of get similar. I'm sorry to say your Giants have been up there a little bit.
Yeah,
Jets,
I remember.
Like
all those picks worked out really well, too.
You end up kind of seeing the same thing. So whether he comes out in 2026 draft or 2027 draft, I don't think there's going to be some, unless something really crazy happens, you're not going to get some, oh my gosh, look at the Chiefs. Like all of a sudden they got the number 1 pick and look at Arch and here we go. It just doesn't, that what happened with the Indianapolis Colts at the end of Peyton, where he got hurt, they had a terrible year and they did the suck for luck.
Yeah.
Like that's very rare. So it doesn't matter if he...
Unless they're that powerful, Maggie, and they're going to tear an ACL or pop a shoulder labrum on somebody at the perfect time so that team has to do a quick reset and somehow finds their... I mean, look out. If Patrick Mahomes' Achilles goes at the end of the 2026 season and the Chiefs have to tank for Arch, then we know that your conspiracy theories is alive and well.
Then we know the script is being followed. No, I think the Rams is the thing. Like, I'm looking at Matthew Stafford right now, getting an epidural. Guys, not a picnic. Just speaking from experience there. It's the only time I can really speak from experience when it comes to me and football players. The epidural kind of sucks, and it's like, it's a big deal. And I just can't imagine Matthew Stafford's going to stay healthy. Now, that Rams team may be so good that it doesn't matter. They can still, kind of back their way into 10 wins. But if something happens and they are really bad, you're telling me Arch Manning's going to be sitting there with Sean McVay. He can learn maybe from Stafford, or Stafford's career will be over, or what have you. And they're not going to say that's appealing? Get out of here.
Do you think when Stafford got his epidural that they made Kelly leave the room like they made me leave it when my wife got hers?
They have a very nice nurse who comes in and holds you steady.
But didn't you get like interviewed before you got it? Like I remember I had to leave the room and they talked to my wife about stuff before the epidural and I couldn't be there when she got it. Like it was some weird.
Yeah, she was probably like, get him out of here.
No,
I can't do this anymore.
She actually,
That's kidding.
you're gonna hate when I say this possibly. My wife could not have had, and I can't jinx it because we're not having any more kids. She could not have had easier labor.
Yeah, don't tell that story to people.
She had for my daughter, my first kid, she had to be woken up to deliver the baby because she had the
Wow.
epidural. She was like napping, and she just like they came in and checked like, oh no, you're crowning. Let's go. Like we had like,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, now that we do this schedule and we're on like, it's just a little bit wonky. And if you're listening to the sound of our voice, like you might also be on a weird schedule in life. Napping has become like such a huge thing.
It's the only thing I care about today. I get out of here at 10. I'll be home by 11:30. I'll be asleep 10 minutes later. And when I wake up, and away we go.
So napping has become a very big part of our lives. And sometimes we get woken out of a nap. It's almost worse than just being woken out of like a regular sleep. So to be woken out of a nap to be like, it's time to deliver a baby now is the worst tap on the shoulder you could possibly get.
I mean, it's
in
better than
life.
40 hours of...
Yeah.
It's like a golf whisper. You have to deliver the baby.
Psst, Katie, we're going to need you to wake up now.
Focus, woman.
It was like we could see the hand. Anyway. Okay,
Double epidural.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm glad for her. That's great. Good job.
Yeah, but I was insulted by the please step out while we prepare for the epidural. Because they ask you weird questions before that. Don't you remember that?
No. I mean, it's all a haze.
Yeah, there's like...
Someone could have asked me for my social security number, mother's maiden name. I would have given him everything. What do you need?
Maggie's car, by the way, is running outside the building if anybody needs a lift.
So nervous. I just left my car at the garage. Nobody's there. Keys in the front seat. What am I doing, Ray? I've lived in this city long enough. I'm such a dope. Okay, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Get it started with Archie Manning here. What's going on? Why is the family so insistent on saying he's going to play 2 years of college football? If he's awesome, whether he wins the Heisman or doesn't win the Heisman, number 1 overall pick, no doubt, why are you going back to college? And let's say there's a great team that's maybe picking in the top 10, and you can try to get Arch to not the Cleveland Browns or not maybe your hometown New Orleans Saints if you don't want to do that. Like, so if the stars are all aligning, you're going to say, no, we had a plan in place from when he was 10 years old that he's got to do 4 years of college because his uncles did? That makes no sense to me. It's a different person. It's a totally different career. 888-710-4ISN. It is the Maggie and Perloff Show. Bogish is in for Pearl today. Get back with your phone calls and also an update on a quarterback battle that has been raging in the NFL that may have gotten decided last night. We got the details for you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. Perloff on vacation. Andrew Bogish sitting in today. We talked about Archie Manning and asking the question, what is going on here? Why are the Mannings seem so insistent that he has to stay 2 years at the University of Texas now that he's got the starting job? So that would make, count him up, 4 years at Texas, got to stay the whole time. I don't think it's about his degree because, you know, college football players are on campus all year round, basically. They all graduate with like 100 degrees. They're secretly college football players are the most well-educated people we know. It's like they have more diplomas than the average person because they're constantly on campus and taking classes. And so I don't think it's about that. It's obviously not about NIL money because they've got more money than most. To me, if a great opportunity presents itself in the NFL, that's going to mean more to Arch than staying an extra year at Texas and getting a couple more reps under his belt. So I don't get what's going on. Let's see if Tony in Dallas can tell us the truth about Arch. Tony, well, good morning.
Thanks for taking my call. Good morning.
What do you got for us?
Well, it's pretty obvious what's going on. You know, the Manning's pretty good at what they do. Of course, you're going to say he's coming back for 4 years. You know, I'm sure they got 2 or 3 teams. They already have plans where they want him to go. Well, as long as you keep saying he's going to come back for 4 years, you can make sure 1 or 2 of them teams position themselves to be that first or second pick or in the first place position. All other teams are going to sleep on it. Oh, he's going back. Now, Arch not coming back. It's obvious. Now, if the Browns the number 1 pick, Arch going back. Unless they can get that pick from him by giving them so many picks.
Yeah.
Arch not going back 4 years. They selling us a hog and people buying it.
Yeah.
Don't get worried about it. He leaving. Watch what I tell you. And you just have to be that team where they want him to go because they caught so much flack when they did it with Eli. And after all you've seen happen with what Deion said about Shakur, we're not going to go there, but I'm just saying, you know, it's all about, you know, entitlements and all that. Arch not going back. They just selling you a hog. Don't buy it.
Tony, I think you're onto something. I think you are. Now, one part that Tony brought up that I had not thought about is the NFL obviously doesn't want this to become a thing where guys are not going to the place they're drafted. No, this has happened before Eli Manning. Obviously John Elway. Like, there's been other, when there was another league, Jim Kelly decided not, ironically, didn't want to go to Buffalo, ends up going in the AFL, and then ends up in Buffalo.
And then we have Carson Palmer saying that Joe Burrow didn't want to be a Bengal?
He said he shouldn't. I don't know if he said he didn't want to be. He cautioned that he shouldn't. He should try to get himself somewhere else. We saw this with Trevor Lawrence. Would he actually want to go to the Jets? Would he actually want to go to the Jags? I get it. Tony's onto something there. The NFL may not be pleased with the Mannings that everyone believes they can pull this power play. That could be something. So maybe they're trying to throw people off the scent.
Maybe, but I just be non-committal. Just say, we haven't made a decision yet. The draft's too far away. So, because now you're setting yourself up to, if you change your mind. Now, did you change your mind because the team that you wanted to be at the top of the draft is at the top of the draft? Or this is now the way you now can manipulate the draft and get the team that you want to trade up or whatever? Like, why not just be, hey, we're going to let the season play out, and we'll make all draft decisions when we have to make them in early 2026. To say something definitive, I don't understand. Do you believe that Tony is saying that they're just selling us a hog? Like, this is actually, it's a smokescreen. They know that if Arch, if the situation's right, he will actually go to the draft, and this is all just bluster BS. Yeah, I do think that the door is always open to be in the 2026 draft. Yeah. Whether it's straight smoke signals, whether it's all, a distraction, whatever, I don't know the motivation. But it's probably more likely that they're trying to manipulate something than he's not good at football, which, again, my head keeps going back to. So, yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the next draft and he's the number one pick. I kind of like where Tony was going there, too, that a certain number of teams understand that they actually could get Arch, and that they've been sort of given the assignment, and everyone else has to just slum it. And I agree also with Tony. He ain't going to the Browns. I wouldn't let that happen if I were a Manning. Mike's in South Dallas. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, Maggie. I don't know why we're so hyped up on Arch Manning. I mean, he has not proved anything. I need Perloff. Where's Perloff, on vacation?
He's on vacation. But really, Mike, you don't understand why we're that hyped on Arch Manning? There's nothing about Arch's story that you think is interesting?
Oh, he can scramble a little bit. But, I mean, have we ever seen him in a high-pressure situation?
We did get thrown into that Georgia game, Mike, but that was a tough one. We're going to see it. But the guy's been, there is a little something, I think, to your pedigree, right? And I think there is something to what we have seen hasn't been terrible. And the guy has had better coaching and more, resources put into him than a lot of quarterbacks. Yeah, but I do. He's just like these other guys who come out right like that. But for everything that we know and seen, he's a very good quarterback. He is getting marked up by being a Manning. He's getting a push, a bonus from that. If his name wasn't Manning, we would have, 2/3 less conversations about him. And we certainly wouldn't be having this conversation this morning about it. But he can play. It's not like Texas is not manufacturing this. We've seen him cut up high school fields and put up huge stats, and everybody wanted him. But now we're seeing him be okay with not playing for 2 seasons and then putting off the NFL for even longer. Well, I was always a little surprised. I thought that he may transfer to USC. That's what I thought the situation could have been after the freshman year. But there maybe is something about he likes Texas. He wants to be with Sark. I mean, you look at some of the quarterbacks from Lincoln Riley when they get to the NFL, is it a little bit harder of a transition? I look at Caleb Williams now. They're basically having to break the entire guy down to build him back up again in a different system. Brandon is in Fort Worth. Brandon, what's going on with Arch Manning in your opinion?
Okay, guys. I just have to say the reason that Arch Manning is definitely going to be staying in the way his grandfather is saying that he's going to be staying is because it's actually been known by Texas fans for a long time, and I don't know why the media keeps pushing the narrative that, 1, he was going to transfer, and 2, he's going to come out immediately. Yeah. The plan has been for him to sit and develop. Sure. And then the other part of that is that it's a consensus going around that a quarterback needs at least 20 starts for him to be successful in the pros. So that is the goal that they're going for. He already has 2. If he finishes a full season and they don't make playoffs, then you're adding 12 onto that. That's 14.
Yeah. Wait, Brandon, hold on.
to-
I understand what you're saying. I'm just going to stop you for a second here because this is where I feel like the theory and everything kind of falls short. Because what really is the difference in becoming a great pro? Is it 1 or 2 extra starts or even 10 extra starts in college, or is it who drafts you? Because you can have all the starts in the world. You go to the Browns, you're toast. We all know that. Even Archie Manning wouldn't be able to overcome that. Hell, Eli Manning and Peyton Manning wouldn't have been able to overcome that kind of dysfunction. So I ask you, like, it's like everyone knows you need 20 starts. That's fine. But what about the place he's eventually going to land? That's what really determines your success in the pros.
So we've already seen that the Mannings were able to manipulate the draft with Eli.
Yeah.
One thing, like, let's bring up another quarterback, Trey Lance, immensely physically talented like Arch.
Yeah.
What's the biggest deal on him? Reps. He didn't have enough reps. He hasn't thrown the football enough.
Yeah.
So
And then he got hurt.
And then he got hurt. Of seeing it. Right. But it's 1 year of SEC football. He's got to see all the blitzes.
Sure.
He's got to take the hits. And then he probably needs another year of that same speed before he just goes ahead and jumps in. So, yes, location is a large part of that, but the other part is development.
Yeah, Brandon, I hear you. I guess there's another part about this, and thank you for the phone call and making the point. I think it's funny, Bogues, that it's like people don't think that you develop at all on the NFL level, right? Like, guys go to the NFL and still are trying to get better every year. Sometimes I think we don't even hear that. They say it. We're like, oh, what a cliche. I'm trying to get better every day. You know, but that really is the truth. They are trying to get better. They want coaches who are going to help them get better. So, like, Arch playing at Texas for 2 years, as a starter for 2 years, sure, you're going to get a ton of development out of that. You can also develop by playing 1 year at Texas, being awesome. You could go to an NFL team and sit behind a starter who also helps develop you, like Patrick Mahomes did in Kansas City. Like, there's a lot of ways that you can do this and do this dance.
Yeah, and let's also not just take talent out of this equation as well. Maybe Trey Lance didn't pan out in the NFL because he's not good enough, not because he only got 13 starts at North Dakota State. And a lot of quarterbacks play for 3 or 4 years and have a lot of starts and then are 7th-round picks in the NFL because they're just not that good. We assume Arch is good. And if he's as good as many assume, then I don't see the difference between 14, 16, 18, 20 college starts. And I also don't see why he would need 2 years of learning at Texas. You want to tell me, hey, we don't want him to play freshman year, let him get there, let him learn, take his time. He's fine. He should have been the starter last year. He should have been better than Quinn Ewers last year if he's going to be the next Manning.
888-710-4ISN. Folks still not sold on Arch's skills. Let's get to Peter Schwartz, who's doing updates for us today. Peter, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. We're sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance. It protects small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. We'll start with baseball. Paul Skeens on the mound for the Pirates last night against the Reds.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch. Popped up, center field. Cruz back a few steps. He will glove it. 6 more shutout innings for the amazing Paul Skeens, and he'll leave to a standing ovation.
Greg Brown on Pirates Radio, and the Pirates blanked the Reds 7-0. Paul Skeens, 6 shutout innings. He struck out 8, was pleased with his night.
Yeah, I had to grind through it a little bit at times, but thought my execution when I needed it was good, so I was happy with it.
Skeens allowed 7 hits, so his major league record of starting a career with 46 straight starts of giving up 6 hits or less comes to an end.
What a bum. Guy's amazing.
An off night for him.
Yeah, wow.
And he had 6 shutout innings. Now to Atlanta, where the Marlins and Braves were tied at 6 in the 7th.
Runners take off. Pitch on the way. Chopper slowly hit out to short. Charging Lopez. Scoops and fires low. And it gets by Wagaman. That's going to give the Braves a lead. It's in the camera well. put the pressure on Lopez, and he fired low to first base, and it gets by Wagaman, and the Braves are on top 7-6 in the 7th.
That was Joe Simpson on Braves Radio, and the Braves go on to beat the Marlins 8-6. Two other games in the big leagues last night. In 11, the Mariners over the White Sox 4-3. The A's beat the Nationals 6-0. Now NFL preseason, and there's always the risk of injuries in NFL preseason football. We know that. I'm concerned that the Jets are playing their starters on Saturday, so we'll see what happens with that. Don't be too worried about that. NFL preseason last night, Ravens beat the Colts 24-16. Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson suffered a dislocated right pinky during the first quarter when he was sacked.
It was weird. He hit me, and then I was trying to make sure I had the ball, and I just looked down, and I see my finger different direction. I'm like, maybe I'm tripping. And I looked at it again, and it was definitely like that, so it's like I got to get this thing popped back in place, but I'm good, though.
Oh, man. We need a different word for sacks like that, you know? Like, you know how when you used to play video games like NBA Jam, and there were some dunks that were just dunks, and then there were some dunks that was like, you're on fire. That sack was unbelievable.
That was a fatality from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, whatever. You're right. I'm surprised Anthony Richardson didn't just turn into powder. He didn't see that. To say he didn't see that coming was an understatement. Like, there was no internal clock, whatever, unblocked, free pass rusher. That guy, I can't imagine his eyes must have been.
Right. He's going to see me, right? He's going to see me. He's not seeing me. Boom,
like saucers. Like, am I really? Is this that? Okay, boom. I'm going to just destroy you.
I'm also rusty. I thought he put his head down into Anthony Richardson's chest. Is that a penalty anymore? I don't.
Oh, Bogus, get out of here with your rule book.
Everyone was talking about Richardson, and that's fine, being hurt, and who's to blame for that, and this is the problem with him, whatever. But I thought the guy put his head down instead of face mask up, and isn't he like defenseless standing back there? I'm not in mid-season form.
I don't
yet,
think
but
the
appreciate it.
I don't think
about
the
referees.
I don't think the officials know what a penalty is.
That's true.
I think they were too busy being like, "Oh," like everyone else in the stadium, because that was. I think I'm going to lobby for this. I think we need another term, like a super sack or something like that.
Super sack.
I don't know if that sounds a little. There's some kind of innuendo there, but something
usually
like
there
that.
is with you.
Well, listen, I know there's a lot of like sex toy energy in the atmosphere now because of what's going on with the WNBA stuff, but it's like we need a you're on fire for those types of sacks. Anyway.
Okay. For the Ravens, Keaton Mitchell ran for 68 yards and a touchdown on 9 carries. Ravens rookie cornerback Bilal Cohn suffered a torn ligament in his left knee. That was gruesome.
Sucked.
I thought the bone came out. When they bring out the air cast, I always feel like it's the bone, but apparently it was just the ligaments. So not just, but you know.
his leg was facing the wrong way.
I can't do that.
And he was out. He's going to be out for the season, obviously.
Yeah,
that was pretty gruesome.
Yeah, he needs to recover quietly.
In Seattle, some drama at the end.
Yeah.
The Raiders and Seahawks tied at 23, final seconds. Raiders kicker Daniel Carson comes out to attempt what would or could be a game-winning 55-yard field goal.
And that's blocked. And this one is going to end in a tie in Seattle. As big number 5'6" gets up and Jalen Gaines blocks that kick. And this game, Mike Robb, is going to end, much to Pete Carroll's chagrin, in a tie.
Coach Carroll's like, you ruined my perfect night. I almost had it.
That was Kate Scott and Michael Robinson on Seahawks TV. The Seahawks and Raiders play to a 23-all tie. Raiders head coach Pete Carroll making his return to Seattle.
It was cool to be here. I loved it here. I've always loved the whole, the whole experience that we had here, all those years together and all of that. And I don't forget that, and I don't disrespect that one bit. But it didn't translate to something crazy to me. It was just an opportunity to play in a great setting.
It was just a preseason game, but I kind of imagine he really wanted to win that game there at the end.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, there's some other storylines coming out of this one, like Ashton Genty. That was a interesting debut for him. Still got a long way to go, but it's more about the offensive line and whether or not they're going to be good enough to actually utilize Genty in the right way. Anyway, the Raiders were surprising. As far as Pete Carroll, do you guys remember when the Seahawks said that he was going to move to the front office? Whatever happened with that? Now he's the coach of the Raiders, so it doesn't matter. It was like, we're going to move on from you as coach, but you're going to have an office here. and you're going to be in the front office.
You
you're
had
gonna
to pay him
advisor.
still, so might as well make him do something.
Probably didn't want to put a suit on. He probably wanted to put, sweatshirt and
launched firing
sweatpants.
him.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm really interested in Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly. The Raiders are fascinating to me. I don't know if everyone else is getting on board with how interesting this boom or bust potential.
Yeah, and in what is a very interesting division, too, with the Chiefs and the
Yeah.
Chargers and the Broncos.
Raiders quarterback Aiden O'Connell last night, 205 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. We also had the Eagles and the Bengals last night. The Eagles win that one 34-27. For the Bengals, Joe Burrow played 9 of 10, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So some coaches are playing their starters in the games.
Well, this one was a finally, right? People are, I don't know how many times they said it on the broadcast, or, 1-11 in the last 5 years where they, in the first 2 games, and the Bengals have this terrible record. Guys, it's not Burrow. Burrow's not the problem. He's never been the problem. I don't know why they're doing this performative thing of like, no, we got to get him out there for the preseason. Like, no, you don't. It's not him.
No, we saw the problem last night. Tanner McKee lit up the Bengal defense.
Yeah,
that's the September problem.
Yeah, 20 of 25, 252 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But I don't know. I get torn whether the starters should play. Maybe they should get in the last preseason game, maybe get a series or something like that. I think they have to. I just don't want to see it get too extensive because you never know what. Look, guys can get hurt in practice too. We've already seen that in training camp. So, but I would rather them get one more regular season game in and go down to 2 preseason games. I don't think the coaches need more than the 2.
I mean, that's probably where this is going. But if the players, play at 18 games, now we're 18-week schedule with 17 games, but to do 18 games plus the playoffs, if I'm the players, I need to get something much bigger slice of the pie if you're going to ask me to play another game.
Right, and we get a second bye in that scenario. So now we're on a 5-month season.
Plus, you're also flying us all over the world, literally, where, Roger Goodell is talking about how every team in the not-too-distant future, every team every year is going to be playing a game internationally.
That I don't like.
Well, I mean, no, they got to serve the fans in Kazakhstan, Peter. It's not about you anymore.
It's not. So
you're over. They know they've got you. They need to get the youth in China.
How about London sends over a real Premier League game and we continue to give them the real NFL games. But when their Premier League teams come over here, it's a fake game.
Well, we usually send them the Jags so they could make that claim. Sorry. It was right there. It teed me up for it. All right, we got to leave it right there. Thank you, Peter. Lots more to do. We see you guys on the phones. You want to talk about Arch Manning? So do we. What's going on? Why did Archie, his grandfather, famous grandfather, come out to say he's definitely staying in Texas? Why be so rigid about this thing? The season hasn't even played itself out yet. We're already talking about 2027? All right. Also, another famous son taking the field in a preseason game. That'd be Shedeur Sanders. We got lots for you. It's the Maggie Perloff Show. Andrew Bogusch in for Perloff today.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. Bogush in for Perloff this morning. And at some point, I'm going to need to survey the crowd here because I got a little bit of a dilemma about tonight, and I need like the power of the people because I feel like there's a solution here to my problem that I'm just missing. Like I'm too in the weeds, and I'm sure someone else has come across this before. But first, Jamie is in Dallas. So we're talking about Arch Manning because Archie, his famous grandfather, came out and said Arch is definitely going back to Texas for a senior year. Hasn't even played the junior year yet. But Jamie, what's going on here? Why are the Mannings so insistent that Arch play and start for 2 seasons?
Maggie, good morning. This is right in line with your questioning in regards to your statements about if he goes to Cleveland, if he this, if he that. There's a lot of assumptions made in regards to Arch right now. I think that Bogush is really, kind of sniffing around a lot of this noise, right? And it's pretty artificial. And I think that if you really pay attention to the way Eli, Peyton, and Archie, they're very pragmatic. They always tamp things back. They speak, this, if that, they're never really big into the hype. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I say that because 2 things, please. Let me get this out. Texas has 4 new starters on the offensive line. Both tackles went to the NFL. They got 1 guard coming back. That's it. Matthew Golden's gone at receiver. Jaden Blue's gone at running back. the tight end went to the NFL as well. You got a true freshman that's starting at wide receiver 2. You got a possible true freshman starting at right tackle. They're both 5 stars, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. I've watched the Texas hype train for years. A lot of those kids turn out to not be all anything, more or less NFL players. I believe that that is something they're just being realistic about. And tamping back expectations so that if Texas does lose 3 or 4 games, which is a real possibility in the SEC this year, I don't care about preseason rankings, that, it's not just poo-pooed on and talked about how big of a disappointment. Arch didn't win the Heisman. Arch didn't end this. And they can say, hey, the plan was always this. Now, on the other side of that, you made reference to him transferring to USC. And I just want to say this real quick, and I'll let y'all roll. Sark's offense doesn't translate very well to the NFL. It's entirely RPO dependent, very simple calls, kind of like Heupel at Tennessee, kind of like Lincoln Riley. You heard a lot about that from scouts and coaches in regards to Quinn Ewers' draft position.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not seeing him throw NFL routes. We're not seeing him make NFL reads. And a lot of that is baked into Sark's offense. And I just think that everybody needs to tamp down these expectations. Personally, I believe we're just looking at another version of Chris Sims and Major Applewhite. I don't think I haven't seen enough to Arch to believe that he's anything special, but that's just
Jamie,
me.
Okay, so interesting things you say there, right? Like that the Mannings may be trying to tamp down expectations. If Texas actually has a lot more holes and deficiencies, that they might lose a couple games. Why would the NFL care about that? They're trying to make a projection here. You would imagine they'd be able to understand a couple losses, or even if Arch is throwing to true freshmen or whatever, they're going to, I know it's not a perfect science, folks, but this is why scouts exist. You have to be able to tell who is the talent here and how it projects to the next level, not, did they have a terrible season?
Right. And I can't envision a scenario where he's so bad that he wouldn't be the first pick in any draft he was in. He's almost the anti-Shedeur. People were ready to pounce on Shedeur, hold a lot of things against him that were right or wrong. I feel like Arch almost would be Teflon, where he would walk out there and we would just be tripping over ourselves, making arguments
and excuses
as to why the numbers weren't huge, but he's still the best quarterback in this class. And whoever there is sitting at number 1, they have to take him, or they need infinity first-round picks to trade out of that spot.
The other thing I want to say about Jamie's point, which is, it's a fair one. We can talk about Steve Sarkisian and some of the quarterbacks that he's coached up. Some of the more recent ones were, Mac Jones and Tua, and, whether or not guys are translating to the NFL. That's why, to me, where Arch goes in the pros is way more important than anything he does at Texas. Right? That's the whole deal, where I wouldn't close the door on a good opportunity if it happens to present itself after this season. Because is it more important, that he stays with Sark for another year, or that he gets to the NFL and starts developing on the NFL level?
Right. And obviously, whatever Arch says in Texas Monthly, whatever with the magazine, Archie, that's not binding, but he still said it. And it's still, if they change direction, then they've actually changed direction. If they put him in the draft, then they are going against what we were told they were going to do.
So our own Andrew Kaplan's in our chat, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet and twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. He goes, imagine your grandfather, saying this thing about your future. You're 21 years old. Obviously, he's not just any other grandfather. But I was thinking about that. If, you're in a really tension-filled time in your career, just think about you, and they go to your dad for comment, right? Or go to your grandfather for comment, and then they're saying these things oh no, just
Pops,
yes,
Pappy, come here,
sit this one out, dial this one back. But
I need to know what he calls him now for this role playing. What is Archie to all the Manning grandkids?
What do your kids call your dad?
They call him Poppy.
Poppy, I like that.
That's what we called my mom's dad. Honey and Poppy were my mom's parents.
I love Honey. That's cool.
Yeah. So my dad is Poppy, and my mom is Gammy, because that was what she called her grandmother. No, there is no grandma or grandpa in my family. Gammy. Never.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got a pops for us.
Yeah.
What about Gramps?
G-Ramps. It's a little modern. It's like, I think that's what you
Now
call
he's a rapper.
your grandfather when you were like become a teenager or something. Gramps.
Did anyone do the like Grandma Jones, like that kind of construction?
Oh,
no?
with the last name?
Yeah. I don't think that's a Northeast thing.
No, my nieces call my mom Nanny Pam.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Differentiates between the other.
Right.
You know. What do you call Archie Manning? Hey, Gramps. It doesn't fit,
No,
Nico.
it doesn't.
It doesn't fit. Okay, more on Arch Manning and Shedeur Sanders next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Get back to Arch Manning in just a moment because his grandfather Archie came out to say, yes, he is indeed going to be a 2-year starter at the University of Texas, which we don't quite understand. Why would you call that shot right now before he's even played the season? We will get back to that in just a moment, but I do want to get to Shedeur Sanders tonight. And Shedeur Bogish, who's in for Andrew Perloff today, did I say that? It's going to be interesting here. And I'm curious to get your thoughts on this quarterback battle because counted up now, the Browns have 6 quarterbacks on their active roster because Deshaun Watson was out, actually spotted on a practice field when they're doing joint practices with the Carolina Panthers. You still have Joe Flacco. You still have Kenny Pickett. You still have Dylan Gabriel. You got Shedeur Sanders, and they signed Snoop Huntley. So it's a lot of people. It's a lot of dudes. But Shedeur is going to get the start. What are you expecting from him tonight?
I'm expecting him to struggle because he doesn't have his top 2 wide receivers. They have issues on the offensive line. I don't expect this to look tremendous. And if it does, great on him. And then that's a different quarterback conversation for the show on Monday.
Yeah.
If he goes out there and balls tonight. I don't see that happening. I don't know that he is prepared enough and has enough of a playbook to go out there. I don't think they're throwing him to the wolves here. I don't think they want to make him look bad. I think he's starting because he's the only person that can start.
Yeah.
That has been there for more than a week. And it's up to him. He can force the issue by playing well tonight. But I don't just think he's going to have enough help to really do anything. It's not going to look like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins last night.
Yeah, last night with the Bengals looking like a pretty well-oiled machine on offense. I think it's weird. Yes, you're right. This is not a promotion for Shedeur Sanders. This was you're the only guy left, right? You're not going to play Joe Flacco, who's 40 years old, in a preseason game. I can understand not wanting to do that. And everyone else is hurt or just got there. My thing about Shedeur is I think there's this idea that because of some of the most spectacular plays that we saw at Colorado, and there were moments in Colorado when he and Travis Hunter together, the last-second comebacks, Hail Marys, some really, really tremendous stuff, why we thought he was going to be drafted much higher than he was. I think we're all expecting just wait. As soon as he gets out on this preseason field, it's going to be Dion 2.0. It's going to be, he's going to make everyone eat their words, or it's, there's going to be some reckoning of his draft status, his position. And look, everyone was wrong. Look how good he looks. He's got to play so well to sniff a second opportunity, in my opinion. And I am just seeing that by what the Browns appear to be putting out. He's named the starter, Bogues, for this preseason game and takes 0 snaps with the first team offense in the next practice.
Right.
That to me is not, we're trying to really give a guy a chance. It's we're actually just throwing him out there and we're not going to be putting any stock into this. Let the fans talk about it. Let, social media take off if he has a couple good throws. But inside the decision makers and the Browns, I don't think this matters at all.
No, he's being treated like the 4th quarterback on the depth chart. This is what that guy would. You don't prepare him to start the preseason game because you want to go out there and win the preseason game.
Yeah.
You keep practicing the way you want to practice for week 1. So that's why this was never about anything other than a numbers game where these guys can't play. We don't want this guy to play, so he's got to go out there because Snoop Huntley just got here on Sunday afternoon.
Sure.
There is logic, and it might not show itself in this game, but I mean, there is logic to seeing what he can do behind an actually useful offensive line, which he didn't have at Colorado, and when he's surrounded by NFL players, not just throwing to one of them in Travis Hunter. But it's just like there is no Cinderella like run to the starting job in September here. It's just not a thing because that's not what they want, and I don't think that he's physically ready to do that either.
Yeah, 888-710-4ISN if you want to talk about Shedeur. Tonight he's going to be starting against the Panthers. I think that's what the public wants. The public wants him to go out there and just be awesome. And I'll be honest, I'm with them. Like, I still don't understand why he was taken in the 5th round. Even if how bad did these interviews go? Sheesh. To fall that far. And so I think there's a part of where Shedeur has now become an underdog, where there's nothing like underdogish that you would ever associate with the Sanders family. They don't ever take that position. Maybe they'll say the doubters and the haters, but that's different than being an underdog. You cannot apply that label to anything about Deion Sanders. Like, you can't be prime time and also be an underdog. Like, It doesn't work like that. And Shedeur I don't think he's ever, he's doing the what time is it, like with the Rolex on his wrist. This is not underdog behavior. And he can't now claim it. But weirdly, the Browns have put him in that position of being the scrappy underdog who feels like the organization is almost at times working against him. And he's got to go out and, like, against all odds, prove that he can play in this league. And I don't know, we're not getting that Cinderella story, to your point. I don't think we're getting that storybook, but I think that's what people want to see. And because it's a hapless organization like the Cleveland Browns, I think a lot of people are waiting for him to look good to point and laugh, which is the irony is they actually did select him in the 5th round, but to point and laugh and say, haha, look, he actually is good. He's going to force you to make a decision.
They also know people that Joe Flacco's 40 and no one respects Kenny Pickett and no one has any expectations for Dylan Gabriel. So you can talk yourself into there being a easy path to playing this year for Shedeur, but I don't think it exists. I also am wondering, too, I think you're generally right in that he's now worked his way into this position or been put in this position where, like, he has sympathy on his side.
Yeah, kind of.
But I wonder how many people are still out there just rooting against him, hoping he goes out there tonight and throws 3 picks and looks completely useless. And then they can be, this is what we were talking about. This is why.
It was about football.
Yeah.
Okay. 888-710-4ISN. So we're keeping our eye on Shedeur Sanders, who's going to be making his preseason debut tonight. Meanwhile, Terry is in Indianapolis, wants to get back to Archie Manning, who his grandfather, Archie, famous grandfather, came out and said he will be a 2-year starter at Texas. What's up, Terry?
Hey, good morning, Maggie and Bogish. How you guys doing today?
Good morning, Terry.
Hey, I got a comparison to Archie Manning. Okay, I'm a UK fan. So if you remember when Calipari was at UK, we got a kid by the name of Shedeur Sharp. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Well, Shedeur Sharp came into Kentucky right for Thanksgiving, first part of December. All the UK fans are fired up. This kid's going to be all this, all that. Well, come to find out, the story started leaking because he never did play him. Cal didn't even play him like any early games against anybody, like nobody teams. All of a sudden, we're like, what's going on here? Well, come to find out, his handlers, his people, whatever you want to call it, basically told Cal not to play him because of the NBA draft. If you remember, he got drafted like 6th or 7th by the Trailblazers. And it's like, if this kid was that good, why is Cal not playing him? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, come on, I'm kind of like Maggie here. If Archie was that good, he would have blown Quinn Ewers out of the water. He'd been the starter 2 years ago, and that'd been the bottom line. So maybe Archie Manning is not as great as what everybody thinks he is. He's good, but he's not going to be a Peyton. He's not going to be an Eli. He might just be an average quarterback in NFL. He might just be he may not be a Heisman winner. He may be just somewhere in the middle. I mean, he'll get his money. He'll be okay, but he probably won't have that Hall of Fame career or anything. But I just get tired of.
Terry, hold on one second though. So you think? I just want to get this straight. You think that the Mannings may have, said to Steve Sarkisian, "Don't start Arch because we don't think he's ready."
Exactly. Okay. I agree with you.
Okay, so Terry, but what the only problem with the theory is that Arch did start 2 games last year. Now, it was Mississippi State and it was Louisiana Monroe,
yes.
So it was 2, kind of lesser opponents, but he did start. And then when what was hitting the fan against Georgia in the first half, Sark went to Arch. It was it was a crazy position to put him in at the time, and they didn't go back to him after halftime, but he did go to him. So if they really had this sort of handshake agreement not to play him, why did he play at all?
Well, I don't know. I just get tired of the family and the handlers being involved. The kid goes to a college, let the kid play. Don't just let the kid be the kid, stay out of it. My daughter played sports, and me and my ex-wife, we stayed out of it. We'll let the coaches coach or let the kid play. That's what we're supposed to do as parents. Nowadays you got these famous parents, they got to get involved. Eli didn't want to go to San Diego, had to manipulate a trade to the New York Giants. Stop it. Just go where you go, get drafted where you go, and go play and be done. If you don't want to sign, renew your contract, don't sign, move on as a free agent, go somewhere else.
Yeah, Terry, I understand, but I see what you're saying 100%. But I also do get it from the Manning side of things with Eli or what have you, which is we know how this thing works. We've seen the inside. We pulled back the curtain. We understand. We've met some of these owners. They're idiots, or whatever. I wouldn't trust my career, and on top of it, not my body.
Yeah,
it's just a little bit different. I think basketball, certainly is one thing. Guys that ask for trades all the time. If you barely bat an eyelash with that, guys get traded. But with football, it really is about your body. Do I want to go put my body on the line when I'm going to a team that I think is going to leave me exposed, is, poorly built, terrible ownership? I'm probably ending up in a body cast or something that makes me feel like I want to be in a body cast at some point in my life. I don't want to mess around with that. And I think that's where the Mannings are coming from.
And again, in their defense as well, is you only get one career. And years matter, and you don't want to waste time in the wrong situation. So you could say just go wherever you're going to go and deal with it. But if you get picked in the top 5 by a crappy team, you're signing a 5-year rookie contract. Then we're throwing franchise tags around. There might be, there's acrimony, there's all this stuff. And now all of a sudden you're 28, 29 years old. Maybe you've been run over a bazillion times because they couldn't find a left tackle to protect you. And you're taking beatings, and now you're not the quarterback you would have been somewhere else. So when you have...
We call that the David Carr.
Yeah. When you have leverage, you can/should use it. And I think a lot of times we get in these conversations, and most of us, we've never been in the position to have leverage or have the onions to pretend we have the leverage.
Right.
And and basically get into a staring contest with somebody. So I don't have experience in this. My son is not Arch Manning, and I don't know how good the caller's daughter was, but if she was Paige Becker's, you'd have the ability to walk in and
start making demands.
Make a demand or two.
Yeah, interesting. 888-710-4ISN. Should Arch just do whatever? Go where you go. Browns get the number 1 pick 2 years in a row. You're going to Cleveland.
I think Arch is safe. He's making nearly $7 million NIL. The Manning family dynasty is fiscally protected. Mm-hmm. He can do 4 years and not have to worry about anything. So I think that's what it is. It's kid, the money's there. You're good. Do your 4 years. Your uncles did it. It's your turn to do your 4-year run in college.
Yeah.
You start for 2 years. You're already a star. I think this is a long runway for the eventual Arch Manning run.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I mean, it's very possible, but I always thought there was something even more calculated when the Mannings were doing it. Listen, if it hadn't been the Jets when Peyton Manning was could have been coming out of college after his junior year, even Bill Parcells being there, the Jets at the time, it's not exactly the Jets we know now. But if they had said, hey, we're going to make you the number 1 pick, if they had really confirmed that or whatever, or maybe it wasn't the Jets, maybe it was another team that had the number 1 pick, I think maybe Peyton is leaving after his junior year. And by the way, I think Peyton Manning went back possibly to win the Heisman and to win, and that didn't work.
Couldn't be Florida.
And Eli didn't win the Heisman. I mean, it's not like it has to happen. I just think we judge them way more on their pro careers than the college ones.
And also, if we're going to keep bringing up how they went about their college careers, they both were the starter from the beginning of their sophomore years.
Yeah.
They bided their time as a freshman. They sat there. They got a little. I think Peyton played more than Eli did as a freshman. But then year 2, they were off and running, and that was it. And this family apparently was like, okay, Arch needs another year of hanging out behind Quinn Ewers. So automatically now he's different. If we're going to believe that this is the plan and they're following what the uncles did, then the plan has already changed. And does that mean he wasn't ready to be the starter last September, which then makes him not them?
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. All right, you can weigh in on Arch. And this is exciting because we get Texas, Ohio State right off the bat. This is a pretty amazing opening week. We've got more college football for you, including we are going to predict what a successful season would look like for several Power 4 teams. We'll do that in just a little bit. But coming up, someone being a little bit of a hypocrite. And here in the Maggie Perloff show, we never let that slide. Why?
Because we're hypocrites.
Actually, don't answer that. Doesn't matter why we're doing it. We will get to who is talking out of both sides of their mouth next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
Standing on the moral high ground. Maybe didn't think I would say that. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Bogish in for Andrew Perloff today. Bogues, Aaron Rodgers could do a little, I don't know if it's an I told you so, but it's something close to that. Obviously, the new Steelers quarterback. I got to take you back to earlier this spring, when Rodgers was still deciding whether or not, A, he wanted to play football, who he wanted to play for, and he was kind of doing this dance with the Steelers. And Cam Heyward came out and wasn't very supportive, okay? He said at the time, either you want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or you don't. That's simple. That's the pitch. If you want me to recruit, that's the recruiting pitch. Pittsburgh Steelers. If you want to be a part of it, so be it. If you don't, no skin off my back. I ain't doing no darkness retreats. I don't need any of that crap. That's what he said. That's a direct quote from Cam Heyward. And I think he was kind of, explaining, I think how some Steeler fans even felt at the time. Like, either you know what or get off the pot. Do you want to be here? Do you not want to be here? So Cam Heyward kind of tangentially kind of accusing Rodgers of sort of making this about himself. Maybe putting himself before committing to the team. Well, yesterday we found out that Cam Heyward has been holding in. He's looking for a new contract. So I ask you, who is putting himself before the team now? And I'm sorry, I never thought that I'd really be taking up for Rodgers in this way. But if he wanted to go back to Heyward and be like, hey, man, what was all that, in or out stuff? What was all that, team before the individual? I think he could have a case now. That's probably not awesome for team building as you are getting closer and closer to the season. But Rodgers really has a leg to stand on here. You'd be like, come on, Cam, what was all that criticism? Now you're holding in with a contract dispute?
Yeah, I guess does Cam get credit for being there and being a Steeler and doing a couple of things? Rodgers was just not there at all, kind of holding them for ransom. I think my concern with it, because I guess too, Chris Boswell also wants a raise, and this is just about like redistributing money and making this a guarantee and paying it to me now and whatnot.
Yeah, he's the kicker.
Right. This happens too when teams pay outsiders. So they got DK Metcalf, they got Aaron Rodgers. Now, obviously, they finally re-up with TJ Watt, but part of that too was like, hey man, take care of the in-house stuff first. So now the guys who have all been there for a long time, they see all this money flying around to guys who are new on the block, and they go, psst, been here for a while.
Yeah, right. What about me?
Help a dude out. So Aaron Rodgers can go, if he wants to have some fun with Cam Heyward. He's got his ammunition here too. But I would be, just let's make sure that all the Steelers are happy so that when we get to week 1, they're actually playing the way they're supposed to be playing.
There you go. That's a little... What's Aaron Rodgers up to today? Maybe
we know he's going to say something.
Cam Heyward. Yeah. I don't think he can help himself.
There's zero chance he will pass up this opportunity to make a comment.
I wonder if he actually leaked the story. Because obviously Hayward's been holding in for a while now. Maybe he finally called up Mike Florio. No, I actually don't even know who
it's not
who
even like a full
story.
hold in. He's just like skipping every third play.
Yeah, he isn't fully practiced. Yeah, so who's in or out now, Cam? Pick a lane.
How do we do this here? Like, what would be how would I hold in if I was looking for a new update anchor contract? I just come here and watch the updates not get done. You
Stand by the door.
Here are the headlines. Now just go, I don't got them.
To an empty chair.
Would you like write the scripts but like not actually read it? Be like, here, you do it? Or is like even that too much?
Only do the even-houred ones? You're on your own at 7:30 and 9:30.
Or maybe you just you set up the game but never tell us what happened. It's like, the Brewers were in Cincinnati, and if you want to know how that score ended, then you're going to have to pay me more money.
That's actually a good one. I like
just
that.
Setups.
Yeah. The flip side always has been the full cop-out one is just to sit down and go 7-6, 4-2-10, 111, 109. Just say the numbers. So you have no idea what game that applies to.
It's too passive-aggressive or aggressive. And just like what Cam Heyward or any of these guys do, who do you ultimately hurt? Management? No, you hurt us. You hurt your teammates. We're the ones who have to clean up your mess on aisle 3.
Yeah, and that one day that I was mad, I didn't want to bring this up, but now here we are.
Okay.
So you and I are here today.
Yeah.
But Perloff is not. EJ is not.
Yeah.
And Manny is not.
Yeah.
This feels like it's adjacent to me being left out of all the show functions, and somehow you lost some kind of raffle and you're the one person that had to be here because it would have been too obvious otherwise.
Oh, if we all took off and just left you to do the show?
Perloff was gone, and then EJ had the day off, and all of a sudden this week's Manny's I'm not coming in Friday either. So it was
but
almost.
I'm here.
I know, but I feel like you guys smartened up and was like, listen, if no one's here, it's just Bogan. He's going to get hurt again. So
okay.
Let's draw straws. And I guess Manny won, so Manny could take off, and you had to come in.
Fantastic conspiracy theory. I'm always here for it. But here's the issue. If we were all hanging out without you, we'd all have to be hanging out without you. Perloff's in California. EJ's going to be in Baltimore today. Manny's in Buffalo. If we were all at the beach together, then I could understand you being like, this is calculated. They all took the day off as senior skip day, but you didn't get the memo. But everyone's all over the country right now.
No, that's fair. But also in our industry, shows oftentimes they're just everybody's off as opposed to
Sometimes
one person here or there.
Yeah.
So you just say everybody go home. You guys could have just decided the 4 of us don't want to work on Friday, August 8th. We're going to do our different things, but let's take that day off as a group.
And we forgot to tell you.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that didn't happen. None of this. I didn't even know that EJ and Manny were going to be out today until yesterday after the show. I should read an email. No, nothing calculated.
Email should be sent, I think, is the problem.
No, it's fine. No, nothing calculated, Bogues. You're all in all the time.
That's patently
It was
false.
that one time that we forgot about a potential trip to Wrigley Field, which, by the way, I don't even know if you'd want to be on this. It was a pie in the sky.
I want to be in the group. There's not a more specific thing.
You want to be added to the group chat?
I volunteered to go to San, and usually they go unanswered.
Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. Can I set this up, though? This was we should all go to Wrigley, because I've never been there, which is bad job by me. I've only been to Chicago twice in my life. Once was for a bachelorette party, and shockingly, I couldn't get the ladies to agree to go to Wrigley. But other time was for work. It was for the NFL draft, and that's the only 2 times I've been to Chicago. So I've never been to Wrigley. We talked about going, but then this whole thing got in about how you have to wear adult diapers to Wrigley because you're drinking so much, and because the way the stadium is set up, it's too hard to get to the bathroom. You miss too much game action. So you add multiple beers in a day game plus a hard-to-get-to restroom situation. And apparently everyone...
men who are over 45 are going to the bathroom more often than usual.
Yeah, I'll take your word for that one. But so I guess adult diapers are the thing. So do you even want to be a part of this if we all have got Huggies on?
Yes,
adult Huggies.
The answer remains
Depends.
yes. I volunteered to ride in a car with Perloff to San Antonio while going through Reno.
I know, that's you, though.
I know.
Why would you volunteer for that? Do you understand how much sad dad music you're going to have to listen to with Pearl?
It was also early in our relationship, and I know more about Perloff now. So if this came up new today, I would not run to invite myself on this trip. But back then, I wanted to know McLovin more.
And now you know
Now
him.
I'm good.
Now you don't need to really see Illinois together.
No, give me Paul Papps or Fritzy at this point. Can I get a trade for another Danette? Can we upgrade?
Maybe
How does that work?
It'd be funny if you picked up different Danettes on the side of the road as you go, like a relay race. That'd be fun. It'd be cool if Dan Patrick was waiting at the end. Then you really get to the ultimate. You know,
that's the end goal. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, me too. Same. 888-710-4ISN. I will get to a conundrum that I'm in, and I need some help from the show, from the audience.
Nico's got your back here. I have a strong inclination that Nico will problem solve this for you easily.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Nico, I warned Hickey on the air the other day that he needs to look out. Nico's a phenomenon. He's an assassin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that Nico doesn't want to be an update anchor because I'd be nervous about him coming for my job. But if
I'm going to be honest, we have a couple of those people around here.
I only know Nico.
Okay, well, Ray is sitting right next to him, so don't sleep on Ray.
Thank you.
Obviously, we've got so much talent. Ryan Botcher, we've got Hickey, we've got everybody. We've got so many good, Stu, Stu's been here for a long time. He's not Silent Assassin, but we got a lot of talent in this building.
But Botcher is accounted for now, right? He has a full-time job. Like that's what we're angling for here. And Nico, you missed this a lot, Maggie. When Nico walks in, we have two big we have two big glass doors that get into our studio. They make noise by nature. They're just heavy, they bang with the security thing and magnetic. But it feels like they make even more noise when Nico comes in to announce Nico. And then he's got his sunglasses still on. He's smiling. He's normally in a topical sports jersey.
It's true.
Everyone's excited to see Nico. Whatever the cool word is now, swag, riz, whatever. Nico's aura. Nico's the leader in aura right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's the people's champ.
He is.
It radiates through the glass.
Right?
Yeah. But, so does Ray. I'm kind of blinded over here, They were interviewing Lamar Jackson yesterday on the sideline. Said, tell us a little about the upcoming season. He said, get your Ray-Bans on. It's going to be so electric. It's going to be so bright.
Nico.
I kind of feel that way about this super team that's on the other side of the glass. Maybe EJ Manning should look out. Anyway, Peter Schwartz is here. We kid, of course. Yep. You've got the latest headlines for us. What's going on?
Well, we're going to lead off with baseball this hour. Our first stop is Seattle, where the Mariners and the White Sox were tied at 3 in the 11th.
Here's the stretch, and the next offer on the way. Swinging a ground ball into right field for a base hit. Here comes Suarez running third. The throw to the plate by Taylor. The slide, the tag, safe at home. Suarez, a walk-off base hit for Dom Canzone. The Mariners win it.
4-3 in 11 innings. Rick Riz on Mariners radio. Now to Pittsburgh, where the Pirates shut out the Reds 7-0. Paul Skeens 6 shutout innings. He struck out 8, allowed 7 hits. Manager Don Kelly summing up Skeens' night.
The splinter was back, changeup. We talked about before the game. It looked like he had a great feel for that, was able to put guys away with it, attacked the strike zone, got ahead, and stuff was elite.
Man, splinker.
Yeah, maybe Don Kelly can help you out with another word for the sack. Because if he came up with splinker, or somebody came up with splinker, somebody can come up with the excessive sack.
Yeah, so I mentioned yesterday, so Anthony Richardson last night just gets rocked, okay? And it takes a sack. Thankfully, it's only his pinky that got dislocated because it looked really, really bad. I said, you need another word for those types of sacks. It's like, I said super sack. I said super sack, and I regretted that instantly. But something that delineates this is like a 5-star as opposed to you barely got the guy by a shoe.
Do you want to spell it different? Make it QUE at the end instead of CK? Make it French or something?
I don't know, though. Then we got to explain it every time we say it on radio. But
super sake.
It's a super sake. See, this is why Nico's got the aura.
Told ya.
The splinker that sounds like a nickname you got in college that you really hope that your in-laws never find out about.
100%.
It's like, wait, they call you the splinker? What's that about? It's it sounds like you vomited somewhere weird.
Awkward dinner conversation.
Yeah, it's they called me, oh, you had a nickname in college? What was it? It's that's not really, it's not really important. No,
hey,
what was it? They called me the splinker.
You go back to homecoming and
I'm sorry, you want
here.
You want to marry my daughter? I don't know. Sounds like something you'd have to explain.
It's on a T-shirt?
Yeah.
Splinker.
Splinker. It's a splitter sinker. We know that, but it sounds weird.
Well, even with that splinker, Skeens gave up 7 hits in the game.
Someone who peed in a bush or something. I don't know why.
It also doesn't sound tough, masculine. I'm Paul Skeens. My favorite pitch is the splinker. It's not even super sack sounds.
Super sake.
Yeah, it sounds a little more pro athlete-ish.
Yeah.
Hey, Livy can come up with something better.
Yeah.
Man, she loves that guy.
Well, also, that's maybe something it sounds a little more like a gymnastics move.
That is
It's like
true.
a triple splinker. It's whoa. I can't believe she pulled that off. Perfect 10.
With those 7 hits, his major league record of starting a career with 46 straight starts, giving up 6 hits or less comes to an end. Now to
Trade him.
Now to Atlanta, where the Marlins and Braves were tied at 6 in the 7th inning. They error, and they wind up going on to beat the Marlins by a score of 8-6. And also yesterday had the A's over the Nationals by a score of 6-0. Preseason football will start in Philadelphia.
Ball on the just outside the 20. McKee lines them up again. Dillon to his right. Slot to the far side. Back goes McKee. He's going for the end zone. Caught! Cooper! Touchdown!
He's got skills. Let me tell you this. Cooper has skills.
Merrill Reese and Mike Quick on Eagles Radio. Eagles over the Bengals 34-27. Tanner McKee, 252 yards and 2 touchdowns. And for the Bengals, Joe Burrow was 9 of 10 for 123 yards and a couple of touchdowns.
How long until Perloff and Tanner McKee are friends? Is he the next backup quarterback bromance for Perloff?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if they've already exchanged numbers at some point. McKee's been a pro for a while. Yeah, Perloff is really like friends with a lot of these backup QBs.
I know.
And the reason why is because he's actually like doing his homework. Like he meets these guys when they're like in high school and the 7-on-7 stuff, and he doesn't know they're going to become backups. He just kind of becomes that way.
Right, and now he's just in the mix. So like whenever McCown brother starts the group thread, they just they
add
include
McLovin.
Perloff.
Yeah.
Now, were you which broadcast were you listening to of this game last night?
Away radio.
You are a legend.
That's what I always do.
They were doing Bengals road radio?
No, I'm kidding. I was just watching on TV, but I do like listening. This is a weird quirk by me. We work in the radio business, so this isn't that shocking that I like listening to radio calls even when I have the TV on.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think you learn stuff. And the radio broadcast is really knowledgeable and you learn things. So I love listening to the away radio.
Yeah, you are a catch.
I know. Amazing. I remind my husband that every day. He's like, "Oh, what's that Lions radio again, huh? Let me
might
pull
be
up
the
a chair."
But
Big fan of Dan Horde, huh?
Yeah, all those guys.
So my buddy Mike Watts was doing Bengals TV, and I completely forgot because we're super tight. So I was listening to the Eagles broadcast of this game, and they learning things. And Tanner McKee, remember when he came in last year, he threw his first touchdown, and A.J. Brown threw the ball into the stands?
Oh, yes. They get it back.
So they got it back, and now the guy that caught it and gave it back, he and Tanner McKee are buddies. So that guy catches the ball, becomes part of the story, and now he's Perloff, befriending backup quarterbacks. They play they were playing golf and hanging out because he was nice enough to give the ball back to McKee.
And he didn't ask for anything.
No.
It wasn't like, I'm going to hold you hostage.
Lifelong friendship.
Eagles season tickets.
How
I know,
about season tickets?
But
How about
will
friendship?
he ghostwrite his book? It's all right. Perloff still got a leg up.
The Ravens beat the Colts 24-16. Anthony Richardson suffered a dislocated right pinky in the first quarter when he was super sacked.
Super sacké.
He was splinkered.
By Ravens linebacker David Ajabu. He doesn't seem to be too concerned.
It's a little swollen, but it'll be all right. It's just tender right now. It'll be a little bit more sore in the morning, but I'll be good.
The worst injury.
It was a right angle of what it would look like. It was like his pinky is pointing to the exit behind him. No, it's ugly. Yeah.
Ravens rookie cornerback Bilal Cohn suffered a torn ligament in his left knee, out for the season. Head coach John Harbaugh said it's a tough situation.
Seeing him in the locker room just now was really hard. Very hard. But like I told him, the sun will come up tomorrow. If the sun doesn't come up tomorrow, we got much bigger problems. So the sun will come up tomorrow. You'll get this taken care of. You'll be rehabbing. You're part of our team, and you'll be back.
A philosophical John Harbaugh last night. Sun will come up.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably sing it, but Orphan Annie style. This is not the only Harbaugh.
3, 2, 1.
Bringing the offensive line.
Exactly.
I mean, no, you feel terrible for this guy, obviously, but he's got his whole career ahead of him. But not the only Harbaugh dealing with a major injury yesterday. Jim also's got a big one on his hands with Rashawn Slater's now going to miss the entire season with a torn patellar tendon, which is exactly the same injury that our own executive producer, E.J. Stewart, had from the celebrity charity kickball game from last summer.
Yeah. And
it's not easy to come back from.
No, and that's the thing. Like this is one of those. Now, thankfully, they're not common, but this is one of the things you do not want to happen to you.
Yeah.
I remember reading Tristan Casas, the Red Sox first baseman, tore his patella tendon early in this year, and in baseball, there is no history, no precedent of somebody coming back from this.
Oh, wow.
Like it is a career-defining injury. So, and Rashawn Slater just signed this huge contract.
Well, I was actually in some ways kind of happy for him because he just signed the contract on July 27th. Literally just signed it. So at least he's taken care of while he while he rehabs rather.
But what was weird, I don't say this like flippantly, but remember when he signed it, there were a lot of jokes, whatever, that he signed it after getting a divorce, so he didn't have to pay his wife,
his ex-wife,
and now right after he suffers this what could change his career injury. Now there are football players that come back from this, but
Are you saying karma?
No, I'm not saying karma, but I'm sure the internet was saying karma. I'm sure the people who were for roasting him for saying when they
trying to game the system
that he was hiding money from his wife, and she came out and said, stop, that's not what's going on. But I'm sure people have said that and thought that when he got hurt off the back end of this, but still fresh off signing this, now he has this injury, and there, ACLs are bad, this is bad. Some things you get fixed and you come back and you're you eventually. This is one of those things where you're not guaranteed to come back the same type of player that you were.
From a
patella tendon. This is a bad injury.
Man, so obviously, what this does to the Chargers remains to be seen. At least they did just draft Joe Alt, who can just flip over to the left tackle, and then they're going to, shuffle some things around. But the run game is just, we always think the Chargers, Justin Herbert, all about the passing game, but it's a Jim Harbaugh offense. It's about running the ball. So, interesting, tough injuries.
One other game last night, Raiders and Seahawks played to a 23-all tie in Pete Carroll's return to Seattle.
Yeah, and Ashton Genty had a couple carries and really didn't do much, and we'll get into that in just a moment. Obviously, it's his first preseason game, so we're not reading too much into it, but was it just, does it leave the door open to wonder, was this a luxury pick that they really didn't need to make? Obviously, the Raiders need a lot more in terms of upfront on the offensive line and the defensive line to be a better team.
You're being respectful. I will not. Everyone in this room has more rushing yards than Ashton Genty last night since he had -1.
I wouldn't say that to his face.
We all lead him in rushing yards.
Yeah.
888. I think he'll be okay, though.
710.
He will soon pass us.
Yeah, just give him 5 minutes. 888-710-4ISN. Thank you, Peter. Coming up, I do have a dilemma that I'd love some help with. And also, we will be answering one big question about the quarterback at the top of the hour. That quarterback today is coming from the NFC North. AFC North. It's the Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break.
This is Maggie Gray with an Odyssey Sports Minute sponsored by Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal.
Wasn't blue, he just really loves eggs and the mobster crew. Hey, yeah, Perloff's weekend, it's a quiet kind of crime. No sin committed, just wasting time. With a bowl of nostalgia and a sandwich made of memories, yolks, and hell.
Maggie and Perloff on the airwaves riding high. And in the chat, that's Donald Rose, partner. Countdown starts now.
Donald Rose got that digital spunk. Cowboy boots on, sipping Red Bull in a bunk. Tecmo dreams back in 94, but the roommate's Vikings ran up the score. Daly said, you got game, my man. Then watched Don fumble like a backup plan. Now he rides with M&B pride. Infinity Sports, he's the king of the ride. Downtown Cowboy, boots clap loud with the Sips on fire. Downtown Cowboy, that sports talk spark never tires. Big friendly Duncan Kaplan's text. Don'ts in the chat like who's up next. Oh, no. Andrew Kaplan's blowing up the phone. Big friendly hit, ghost mode, left him alone. Was it a lunch, a call, a plan to collab? Friendly vanished like a pre-snap nap. But don't stress, he's tuned in tight, yelling let's go when the take feels right. He's the beat between the hot mic swings. Talk radio's way Cowboy King. Friendly's gone, Kaplan's crying, Donald's counting, music flying. No control and no shame, just glowing vibes. Donald's countdown rides, keeping hope alive. Countdown Cowboy. Excellent sports takes through the neon air. Countdown Cowboy. No ghost can hide from the fan. Who cares? Infinity's flame, the YouTube stream. Donald's the DJ in the sports fan dream. Rose, the one in the feed. Kaplan's still waiting. Friendly won't read, but the countdown's live and the Cowboys free. Donald Rose riding with NP.
One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. Andrew Bogish in for Andrew Perloff today. We'll get back to the football in just a moment. But I have a dilemma, and I was hoping I could get some help on it. So I live in the suburbs, and we have the town pool. And the town pool is great. I love it. There's a snack shack. There's like a couple pools. They got a water slide. Kids love it. Lots of lifeguards. Everything seems very safe. Everything on the up and up.
I met my wife at the town pool.
Love the town pool.
Yeah.
And so the town pool is great, but there are a lot of rules.
Mm-hmm.
You know, rules keep us in line. Rules are what, helps keep society on the straight and narrow.
Keep you from sleeping in bathtubs.
And I am a rule follower, in my life. Like, I'm an upstanding citizen. I'm a rule follower. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm not really like a rebel kind of person. I don't like getting in trouble, But today, we're going to be meeting up
today
with
that changes.
But today,
she lights a Marlboro Red.
It's starting to sound like a Ray Liotta monologue.
So today,
Call me Splinker.
I am throwing all caution to the wind because me and a bunch of my mom friends and kids and the husbands and all of that, we're all meeting up at the town pool. And we're it's not the end of summer. Summer's still raging. It's awesome, but just like we want to get together, and I'm bringing a cooler.
Can I stop you for 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to be more delicate in this story? It might be too late in case anyone from
the town pool
was listening and they're going to be on the lookout for you when you show up today later?
Well, considering it's run by a bunch of 15-year-olds, I don't think they're up at this hour.
Okay, or listening.
Yeah, probably not. Maybe. But anyway, it's a risk I'm willing to take.
Instagram clip later they'll watch.
Probably. So lots of people, we're all meeting up, and we're going to bring some coolers. They're cool about that. You can bring in any kind of food. It's fine. Clearly, there's no alcohol allowed. And I don't want to be that person who, is flouting the rules, but on a Friday night with a bunch of
I'm thirsty.
but a bunch of designated drivers and a bunch of moms with kids in our 40s, we might want to have a little wine. Sue us. But we could actually get sued if this happens. So, actually don't do that.
Don't sue us
So
or kick us out.
In it now.
Okay. So I'm an upstanding citizen. I'm a member of.
Keep saying that.
I'm trying to convince
I'm
everybody.
a nice lady.
I don't want to be shady. I don't want to be someone who's a rule breaker, but at the same time, having a little wine. So I'm trying to think, how do you tactfully sneak alcohol into the town pool?
I'm literally holding the answer to all of your questions.
There you go.
Do you know what I'm drinking right now?
I think it's coffee, but if it's
No, it's a clear
whiskey
liquid. It's
sour,
not coffee. Coffee is in the actual coffee cup.
Okay. So Bogu's holding up his Yeti.
Yeah.
So we could just do that. But it's also Friday afternoon. We're a bunch of mom. Why are we all drinking out of a Yeti? Whatever.
Because you're at the town pool where it doesn't allow alcohol.
Or glass, right?
Yeah.
So here's what I was thinking. This is what I was thinking. We all have a bunch of littler kids, and we're not going to get wasted. It's not going to be like dangerous. There's tons of lifeguards around. But I'm bringing a lot of juice boxes. And they do sell wine in like individual juice boxes. And I'm wondering if I could just sort of sneak some wine juice boxes in with the kids' apple juice and such. Make sure they're separated. Like no kid's going to accidentally drink one.
Smuggling in contraband.
I'm
But
looking
is
at
it
wine
weird?
juice boxes right now.
Yeah, they're great. Is it weirder to see a random group of moms sitting around all drinking out of the Yeti, their Yeti cups and like cackling? Or are we all drinking juice boxes? That would probably seem a little sus.
You have confirmed in this debate that you are the law-abiding citizen, because this is a terrible idea. You can't bring the wine juice box that says wine juice box on it.
But they're not looking that closely.
But we're gonna know that you're drinking the Franzia Sunset Blush when you're throwing your head back. You got to bring in something that is covered and closed, and you can't. I don't mean to say this disrespectfully. I'm married to one. I'm holding one. We are all married to our insulated thermal cups. Fill this bad boy up with whatever you want. Find yourself a bigger jug that you can't see into, so you can pour yourself refills.
Yeah,
you can't bring in the actual containers.
I know, but this is where I feel like I don't want to be disrespectful. I can't be lugging in the cooler like the whole huge thing of sangria and then like divvying it up to my mom friends. That's why
100% can.
See, then if they ask to look in the cooler, then I'm dead to rights. Like if they open up the cooler and they just see some juice boxes, they're not going to inspect everything. I think that gets in a little easier. Like, how do I tastefully, tactfully, respectfully sneak wine into the town pool?
How littler are these kids?
My kid's 6. Everyone's on like 6. Probably no one's older than 10 or 11.
What if we tape the wine to their bodies and they walk
I'm
in?
not trying to sneak a sex toy into a WNBA game.
Cups?
What's that? Sippy cups? Yeah.
Do the other moms know that you're planning on doing this? Or is this like just your idea?
It's my idea because I kind of put it together. And there's a couple people who don't like actually belong to they're not like members. And so they're coming in like as my guests. And so I feel like I'm hosting a little.
Another thing I'm not invited to.
You want to come out to the Jersey Burbs today on a Friday? Sit in traffic for 3.5 hours?
fiance and Manny's non-existent girlfriend are going, but I got to stay home.
Just for a box of Franzia?
I think you should use the juice boxes, use the juicy juice to bury whatever you're going to hold the sangria in. So if they open up the cooler, they're just going to see grapes and maybe some cheese and crackers and the juice boxes. And then underneath is your thermos of sangria for the refills.
Yeah, I don't know. America, help me. How when you're in your middle age and you can't just be, we're long past the solo cups. Like I can't bring that. It's going to be a dead giveaway. And I want to be respectful. And I'm not trying to do, the whiskey flask and the sock. It's not a Bills game in November.
I mean, you could up the ante and just go buy some 20-ounce bottles of ginger ale, Sprite, Coke, whatever, pour it out, throw in your alcohol, and then just walk in like, I'm drinking a Coke. Might have Jack Daniels in it, but you don't know that.
Yeah, I guess I could do that. I don't know. I feel like I'm too old to kind of be like sneaking around, like emptying out the Coke bottles
you
and
are
then
the
putting
perfect age for sneaking wine to the town pool. This is the sweet spot.
No, I know.
I'm probably gonna do it Saturday or Sunday.
I thought the wine juice boxes was kind of brilliant, but
no.
How big are those boxes?
They're like juice box size. It's like single serving.
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah.
But they say Pinot Grigio on them, so they're a
no one's
giveaway.
no
The
one's looking at it.
15-year-olds are not looking at that.
Yeah.
They just see parents with kids sipping juice boxes.
It's just so weird because I would never drink a juice box ever.
The ones I'm seeing are like in the weird cartons that like protein shakes come in, but they're very colorful and they say Cabernet Sauvignon. And they don't say 100% real juice. I still think you got to put it in something that's nondescript and just carry that in.
Help me, America. How do I tastefully sneak alcohol into the town pool? This is my life now.
Or you
as a
get
suburban
hammered
mom.
beforehand and just chill at the pool already with the buzz on.
No, I can't get hammered.
All right, fine.
It's not anarchy, folks. It's not some Saturday night at the Bogish house, all right? We're trying to keep some decorum.
Or a Thursday afternoon.
Okay, coming up, we've got one big question to answer about one quarterback who was on the field last night. We'll tell you who next. It's Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Why are the Mannings so insistent that Arch be a starter for 2 years at Texas? What is going on? Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Bogish in for Andrew Perloff is taking a much-deserved vacation for the next couple days. But Bogues, Archie Manning, the latest Manning, to come out and say Arch is going to be at Texas, not just for this year, but for his senior year as well. And it's just an odd thing to come out and say because we have no idea how the season is going to go. We have no idea how the NFL season is going to go, where if Arch has an opportunity to land at a really good spot, whether you manipulate the draft or don't, because we know the Mannings did that with Eli Manning all those years ago. But I don't know why you'd close off something when nobody can tell the future. Nobody knows how this is going to go. And if Arch plays great and say this Texas season is fairy tale and awesome, and not even if he wins the Heisman, just say this is a great season. He looks like he's ready to take the next step. I'm not sure why they would call their shot now to say he's definitely coming back.
Yeah, you're right. Even before we get to deep dives on why they would do this, just doing it doesn't make sense. Like, why would you say anything definitive about the draft? Like, why you wouldn't declare for the draft now? Why would you reverse declare for it? In any way, why would you say put yourself in line for either of the decisions? Just simply say, like everyone else does, like, we're going to play out the season.
Right.
That's not a conversation for now. That's for January and February, so check back then.
Yeah, it's an odd one to me, and it makes me think that, A, it's just a smokescreen. Like, they're all coming out and saying this because they think, weirdly, it takes some pressure off of Arch. Like, I'm sorry, it's a much different media landscape than when Peyton was coming out and when Eli was coming out. And so it's going to be kind of hard for Arch to fly under the radar in any way. And to be honest, I think that it's more about where you go in the NFL than how many reps you had in college. If you want to say there's some magic number, 20 starts, 18, 36, you can do Brock Purdy, you can do, you can do 50 starts, you can do Bo Nix, you can play football for 7 years and, start at 2 different places. You can play tons of college football. I think it's about where you go. Like Bo Nix, played at Auburn and then played at Oregon. He has tons of college starts. But if he didn't land with Sean Payton in this great position with Denver, who's to say whether or not he looks awesome or whether he looks like a bust, So to me, it's more about what's your NFL, what are you walking into at the NFL that determines your future? Like Tom Brady says this all the time. If I had been drafted by the Arizona Cardinals, you would have never heard of me. And so, I know, and all of us were like, darn it. Brady kicked our butts for all those years, our team's butts.
Not mine, actually.
But
whatever.
you got the last laugh as being a Giants fan. But it's so true. What Arch does in college is really going to have less of a bearing on what he does in the NFL as opposed to what's the coaching staff he gets with, what kind of organization, is it good ownership, bad ownership? All those things are way more important.
You're right, because even, if we fast forward and he's going into Canton, or he's just a very good NFL player, his bio, his obit is going to be about his NFL stats. And then like the third paragraph might mention, he also won the 2025 Heisman and made the NCAA title game. Like that's, you're never going to lead with his college stats if he's anything north of serviceable in the NFL. And also saying this now, doesn't take anything off the table for him in terms of like attention or pressure or questions. Because if they're, if we get to November and they're 8-0, 9-0, and he's thrown for 4-1 TD to pick ratio, and he's just carving people up, he's going to be asked, are you rethinking the draft? This doesn't
going away.
This doesn't end. This doesn't prevent questions or wondering. So I still am at a loss for any valid motivation for saying what Archie said this week.
888-710-4ISN. It's a little what's going on in the college ranks. Meanwhile, in the NFL, we've been asking one big question about every quarterback room in the league leading up to the season opener, which is going to be Cowboys-Eagles coming up in a couple weeks. Ray, hit the music.
I feel so lucky to be the quarterback.
It's the position everyone wishes they could play.
Why can't I be quarterback, huh? Sit down and shut up.
But it's not for the faint at heart.
Quarterbacks are premium.
I think those things add up to make it quarterbacking the toughest job in sports.
Maggie and Perloff answer one big question about the quarterback.
Okay, we are on to the AFC North. And today we are tackling the Cincinnati Bengals. And Bogusch, last night we saw the Bengals playing their starters in the preseason, which is something they hadn't done before because Joe Burrow had been recovering from a myriad of injuries. He's healthy now. They are playing in the preseason to try to prevent a slow start this upcoming season. But our question about Joe Burrow is this. Is he in danger of being an afterthought amongst all these elite quarterbacks that we're watching right now? And the reason why we say that is not because Joe Burrow doesn't have talent. Hell, you could make an argument he's the second best quarterback in the league behind Patrick Mahomes, and I'm here for that argument. But the question is, are the Bengals not a good enough team, organization, et cetera, to keep Joe Burrow's name in the mix of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL?
It feels a little bit like tennis players not named Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic trying to process Andy Roddick, Andy Murray, how good they were, how good they could have been if they didn't have all of this traffic on the road through their career. But I think I want to trust us that we're good enough that we can, and I'm going to defend Joe Burrow, whether he has 0 or 6 Super Bowls. But if he's got 0 up against multiple wins, obviously from Mahomes, Jalen Hurts could win more. Josh Allen, hopefully for you, wins 1 or 2. The raw numbers that Joe Burrow is putting up, I think, are so good, and there's no reason to think that they're not going to continue as long as he's got Jamar Chase, is that it's going to be on the easier side to go, okay, he didn't win, we get that. And they tried head coaches, they tried D coordinators, they revamped the defense, it didn't work, but that dude still put up numbers. And yeah, he might not have ever gotten back to the Super Bowl, might not have won one of them, but he is because you said the second best quarterback. I'll make that argument.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was unbelievable last year, especially in the back half when they tried to rescue from the first half of the season. He and Chase basically won the Triple Crown for QBs and wide receivers, and that tracks. That will hold up through the test of time if he keeps doing something like this every year.
So I think Burrow is unbelievable. He scares the bejesus out of me whenever he's on the field. But there is a danger here that he will be the other guy where like, oh yeah, there's a danger of that. It has nothing to do with him. But here's how this happens with like football. To win an MVP, what has to happen? It's not just that you're great. Your team has to win a lot of games. We don't see MVPs off of 9-win seasons, like the teams that win 9 games. You got to win minimum, 11, 12, 13 is more like it to even be considered for the MVP. Because I can tell you, was Josh Allen actually the MVP last year or Joe Burrow? We could have a real conversation, or Lamar Jackson. But Joe Burrow wasn't even considered because the team went 9-8. So he may not win an MVP unless the team gets back to putting up those 12-4 seasons like the ones we saw when they lost in the AFC Championship game, or even the 10-7 season, which was a surprise that they went to the Super Bowl that year. So if you don't have an MVP in this era, I wonder if people look back and say, well, how good were you if you never got an MVP? I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that happens. Second thing is, look at all the other quarterbacks that are coming up now. I mean, I think this is a golden era of quarterbacks, partly because the league wants it to be that way. So you've got the guys he's competing with now, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert, who I think we have not heard the last of. What if Trevor Lawrence can start putting it together? And then let's go to the NFC side. Jaden Daniels, Jordan Love. I mean, we have some serious QBs in the – what happens if Caleb Williams starts to put it together? We have no idea what J.J. McCarthy is going to be.
Jackson Dart. No?
Well,
anybody? Takers? No?
Let's see.
This working?
And wishful thinking from the Giants fan here. No, I mean, listen, maybe Dart. I don't know. You don't know. But it's going to get crowded. And there was part of me, you guys know that I'm a Bills fan, when I was asked when Josh Allen won the MVP, like, how did that make you feel? And I said, well, obviously you want to win the Super Bowl. You don't want that AFC Championship game to end the way it did. But at least it feels like what I was watching got validated. I watched a guy who is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he doesn't have a ring and has not even been to a Super Bowl, but the MVP makes it feel like it was real. Like, I can tell my grandkids this was an MVP caliber player, and he literally won the award. I worry about Burrow because the defense is a joke. And if they can't win enough games, and if he never sniffs another Super Bowl, you have to literally be Dan Marino to be remembered as Dan Marino.
Well,
maybe he's that.
You beat me to it. Do we forget Dan Marino?
But how many Dan Marinos are we going to have? Is Josh Allen going to be Dan Marino? Is Lamar Jackson going to be Dan Marino? I mean, there's only so many times you can say greatest ever to not win a title.
Well, to answer that specific question, I think too many people are still too eager to rip Lamar. So, Lamar,
That's
to
true.
me, out of those three guys right now, Lamar has the most pressure to win, or at least get to a Super Bowl, to quiet some of the doubters.
Yeah. I think Josh Allen, too.
See, he would be second, but I don't know that they're like neck and neck because, I mean, maybe you feel it more living inside Bills Mafia.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Josh Allen won MVP last year, partly because people said we can't give it to Lamar again because he keeps being crappy in January.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Some of that is true, but that also does not apply to the regular season and does not mean he can't be a 4 or 5-time MVP. From where I sit, there's far more people pushing back on Lamar than the other two guys. They might get there, but Lamar is the leader in that category at the moment.
Yeah, listen, think about what we do with great quarterbacks and sometimes how we look at their careers. Like, there are a lot of people who look back at Aaron Rodgers and say disappointment because he only won one. Okay? 4-time MVP. Only won one. Same thing you could say Brett Favre. We talked about this when we asked the question about Jordan Love the other day. Is he going to be the next elite quarterback for the Green Bay Packers? But it's like the bar is just so extremely high. And we're asking today if Joe Burrow is in danger of kind of being left in the dust a little bit of this elite, being thought of as this elite tier 1 no doubter quarterback because the rest of his team is not holding up their end of the bargain. Not Jamar Chase, not T. Higgins. We're talking about the defense. We're talking about the full team. And so, I mean, I think it's always there. It's like you'll respect him, you'll respect his career, but if he doesn't get back to another Super Bowl or get an MVP, it's like, does he become and Joe Burrow, not Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar Jackson? Like, that's not how we're talking about him. And actually, Mike Sando from The Athletic does this thing, quarterback tiers, QB tiers. I think he's going to have Burrow in tier 1, but there's a lot of people out there who think that could be on the cusp. And I don't think it has anything to do with Burrow. It's because his team lets him down.
Yeah, I don't know how you hold that. I mean, again, we mentioned this kind of like in passing, but it's real. They play last night. The offense looks great. They look fine. To me, they should never go back on the field again in the preseason. But the defense can't stop Tanner McKee. Can't stop the Eagles. Even the tush push worked from the Eagles backups
they did
against
the tush push last night.
A lot of Bengals regulars. So that is the problem in Cincinnati. And I think that sympathy of, oh man, they did Joe Burrow dirty in Cincy by not having the right mix on defense after the beginning of his career. That if that is the story for the next 5 or 6 years, like, we're not going to forget that. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's on a Hall of Fame trajectory. He's not going to be kept out of Canton because he couldn't overcome completely useless defenses.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. That's our one big question about the quarterback today. That's Joe Burrow. We're asking, is he in danger of being sort of left out of the conversation of these great quarterbacks because, his team is not helping him out?
The oddity of Joe Burrow, every time people go to his bio page, these the 2-time comeback player of the year. You don't want to be a 1-time comeback player of the year, but he's won it twice.
Such a weird award, though.
It is.
Because if it was just injury, which is obviously but then it's like Joe Flacco won it because he came off the couch.
Right. He came back from retirement.
Didn't Geno Smith win it just because he came back from being a backup? They wrote me off. I didn't write back.
I remember being very angry on the air at Sirius before this place existed about the possibility of Mike Vick being comeback player of the year.
Oh, when he went to prison?
Because you cannot be the comeback player of the year from jail. You can't. Illness, injury, benching, bad situation. There's a lot of ways, but you can't come back. You can't be comeback player of the year from something that did not have to happen, and it was your fault. You don't get that.
He
could have been MVP. He could have been Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. But you can't be comeback player of the year from a self-inflicted wound. No way.
Okay, but flip side of that, what he did was awful with the dogs, but he has really lived his apology. He served his time.
Great, yes.
And now he's become a sponsor for the ASPCA.
Right.
Like, he's really out there. It's not like, he is saying this should never happen. Like, he owned it, now it's a positive thing. So maybe it's more of like a positive comeback.
It's a very nuanced argument from me, and he could have been. And I was never saying he shouldn't play again. I'm not saying now he shouldn't be on TV. It's not like it's nothing like
you're
that.
not canceling him.
This is a specific thing that like intellectually never lined up for me, where you can't be comeback player of the year. You can't be lauded for a specific comeback from something that you did that was bad.
Right. I don't know if I follow you down that road, Bugs. I mean, not to litigate old stuff.
And I think in the end it didn't happen. I don't think he won it. I think somebody else did. I don't think he won.
I'm sure it was one of Chad Pennington's 100 comeback players. I'm sorry. Poll question, Nico. Can you win comeback player of the year if you're coming out of prison? I kind of like it more.
No, he was the comeback player of the year, 2010. He did win it.
Okay.
So shame on the voters.
No, I think
15 years later.
I think it's a nice, we are about second chances in society.
What was Burrow's other? It was ACL and what? What was this?
I didn't know he was 2-time. That's funny.
Yeah.
It's not funny. It's like sad.
I think he's the reigning comeback player of the year.
Oh.
Feels like a participation trophy to me.
Yeah, he is.
Well, that's the other part about we're asking the big question today. Is Burrow in danger of kind of being left behind in the conversation of the greatest quarterbacks of this era?
Well, he's always got the 2 comeback player of the year. He's always got those.
What do you give to
how many does Lamar have?
Like they give you obviously a ring if you win the Super Bowl. You get other things if you win these awards. What do they give you for a comeback player? Like a roll, I guess a lifetime supply of Band-Aids. Anyway.
A golden Band-Aid.
A golden Band-Aid.
Here's your new ACL.
Well, the one thing about Burrow we didn't talk about, we talked about the team letting him down, the defense letting him down. Is he even, do you win enough games to even be in the MVP conversation? So how are you remembered that way? But he also gets hurt. Knock on wood for him. I don't want to see it happen. But he has dealt with with some, pretty major injuries, including like his wrist that he had to, teach himself how to play piano to try to rehab from it.
So, and one ACL, which is kind of like, that can happen to anybody. Yeah. But then he admits in the quarterback show how unique the wrist injury was.
Yeah.
Like, it's not supposed to happen. It doesn't happen to quarterbacks. So that would scare me a little bit in terms of like the injury prone argument. Like when weird stuff happens, a lot of it is just bad luck. Somebody falls on my knees. I fall on my shoulder the wrong way. Just wear and tear stuff. But when you start having things that don't normally happen to humans happen to you, then I get a little nervous. And apparently the wrist one was a very uncommon situation.
Cool flex, though, for a rehab. Be like, I now can play Tchaikovsky, and I'll also throw the football.
Yes. And I've heard people, after watching the quarterback show, compare him to Aaron Rodgers and having this kind of weird thoughts. That's an unfair comparison. Joe Burrow being intrigued by dinosaurs is not the nonsense that Aaron Rodgers lives in day to day. That's not same.
Yeah, they don't feel the same to me.
They're not.
No.
And one does not lead to the other. He's not pre-Aaron Rodgers right now. He's just an inquisitive young man.
Yeah, I can't imagine Rodgers like buying the Batmobile. That doesn't really seem like his thing.
But then he didn't get the Batmobile. What a heartbreak that was.
Well, he didn't get it because someone broke into his house.
I know, that sucks.
Well, that criminals ruin everything.
It also wasn't really the Batmobile. Like, it was the Bat, but it wasn't. It was like being made for him. I thought he was buying memorabilia.
It wasn't?
No, he says in the show that like it was being like he didn't get it for like a year because it was being like fabricated. I don't think he bought one that was in the movie. Unless I misunderstood what he was explaining.
Huh. I mean, I always just assume another Batman's in the mix, like in the works.
Or they're like showing up in somebody else's movie. Like
like who's the next Batman? Do we know?
I don't.
Is Christian Bale still doing Batman?
No.
It's Robert Pattinson right now, but there's going to be another one for the separate universe. It's very confusing.
I'm sorry, did you say for the
Yeah,
cyber universe?
There's going to have they have a side quest Batman, which is Robert Pattinson, but then in the mainline DCU, they're going to cast another Batman. So we're going to have two Batmen simultaneously.
That feels wrong.
That feels unnecessarily confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't there been like 4 Spider-Mans at this point?
That's true. There's like a club of guys who have all been
Right.
Spider-Man,
And they made a
Superman.
movie where they like all came
Right.
together.
It got to
too.
the point where they had to make a joke about it.
Yeah.
And then you have the animated Spider-Man as well.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that first one was good.
Who should play Batman? Are they going to give it to the guy who played Elvis? Probably, right? He seems to really get it. Austin Butler?
Oh, he's in that new weird movie where he's like a ex-baseball player and he gets accidentally like stuck in some kind of like drug deal and he's being chased around.
Maybe he's a no capes, no caps guy. No capes, no tights. Is that what Leonardo DiCaprio once said that to Timothy Chalamet? No capes, no tights.
Yeah, you're right about that.
These guys think
so
they're
that
too
you don't
good.
Get typecast in that situation.
I mean, it's weird advice for DiCaprio because he did like the ultimate, like, rom-com comic book. We're still going for something.
Well, Leo went from young actor to kind of actor snob where I get to pick my roles, so he can tell a young actor that don't wear the cape because I didn't do it, basically.
Right. I'm with Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, there you go.
I would never.
I fought a bear.
He did. Had to do it to win an Oscar, though. Sheesh. Couldn't be me. I mean, the bear wasn't real, but you really had to be out there in the snow.
It was a great movie, though. We love The Revenant.
It's not a rewatchable movie to me, though. And maybe that's me. No, it's like, I don't want to watch this guy. That is some suffering that happens in that movie. It is uncomfortable.
Like 4 times.
His family gets like murdered,
you might
right?
talk to somebody, Ray.
He's on the revenge.
Ray's got his wine juice box out.
I snuck the wine into the movie.
Yeah, it's a beautiful product. It's The Revenant for fun.
Yeah, who watches
For
The
bleeps
Revenant
and
for
giggles.
fun?
I love that movie. I'm sorry.
I love it.
Great movie.
That's a weird thing to say.
Is this a cinematography conversation, or are you like?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a movie snob. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. It's just like, I'm not saying it's a red flag, but like when someone tells you that their favorite movie, it's like we made fun of Manny about this. Like, what's your favorite movie? It's like Saving Private Ryan. It's like, oh my God, Manny. Like, you can appreciate Saving Private Ryan. I understand that. It is a masterpiece. But that's like, hey, I got a couple hours to kill on a summer Wednesday. I'm going to pop in the feel-good movie Saving Private Ryan.
I've watched Saving Private Ryan more than like 5 or 6 times.
But you're going to be in a mood after that. You can't just be like, all right, now I'm hop zippity-doo-dah down to the beach.
Yeah,
like, you got to want to get depressed if you're going to watch that.
It's also basically a Pixar movie in comparison to The Revenant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got Vin Diesel in it.
Well,
it's great cinematography. It's a great revenge movie. I love Leo. Sue me.
No, it's a mood. Like, I was thinking about this. So there's a new trailer that dropped. Jordan Peele has a new movie that kind of looks like it's like a football movie, but it's weird and it's creepy. And Jordan Peele did Get Up and Get Out.
Get Out.
Get Up is Mike Greenberg.
Yeah.
Sorry. Greenie makes an appearance. It gets odd. No, I'm sorry.
That's why Schrader went
in the middle of a horror film.
Yeah, ESPN is a horror film. Don't aggregate me on that. I love those guys. But no, Get Out. Anyway, Jordan Peele's got a new movie, and it's a football weird psycho thriller, and Marlon Wayans is in it, and he looks great. And he is a comedian, obviously, but he was in the movie Requiem for a Dream, which is a sad movie about people getting afflicted by drug addiction. Like, who watches that twice? You watch it the first time, you get the performances, it's a sad commentary on society, but no one's like, you know what a feel good as a Friday, I'm going to just pop in Requiem for a Dream. It will shift the energy in the room.
In a hurry.
I will say one of my favorite movies of all time is Armageddon, and that has like a sad ending too, so you kind of got to get in the mood for that as well, right?
Yeah, I mean.
But I love it. I've seen it so many times.
Is that the only Aerosmith song you know?
Come
Who's
on,
Aerosmith?
Don't doubt my intelligence like that.
I just have to check because Manny's answer would be yes.
Yeah, Manny learned
would say, who's Aerosmith?
Well, Manny learned who Aerosmith was because they were using the music on some NBA promo. He's like, have you ever heard of someone named Steven Tyler? I was like, get out. Yes,
he's the worst.
No, Manny. I love when Manny discovers new music. Like he's the first person to discover ABBA. He's like, have you heard this music? It's like, yes. It's great. I think it's fantastic. I love that he's listening to some of the older stuff. But yeah, do you watch movies with sad endings like over and over and over again?
I can watch almost anything over and over again. I think The Revenant might be where the line starts that I can't watch it again.
That has a happy ending. He won.
His family was murdered.
Hey, listen, he won.
Right. Wife and kids, they're gone. Can't do anything about that now. That's in the past. Okay. All right. 888-710-4ISN. That was a conversation that started with Joe Burrow. Coming up, we will get back to college football and Ohio State. We'll do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff show. Andrew Bogusch in for Andrew Perloff. Got a lot of things on the front burner for you. Number one, Arch Manning. What do you think's really going on? Why is his family, including his famous grandfather Archie, being so insistent that he is going to stay to be a starter for 2 years at Texas? So that would make 4 years at Texas. Well, what is going on here? 888-710-4ISN. If he's good enough, he's going to be the number one pick. If they have an NFL team that looks like it's a good fit, why not just go to the pros after this year? Also, a little on Joe Burrow. Last night looks amazing. Playing in the preseason for the first time. Or he'd been coming off of injury, so you could understand why they were hesitant before. Last night, he looks great. Bengals had notoriously got off to slow starts. They're trying to fix that. To me, though, Bogues, a little bit, and we'll get to Peter, who's got updates for us, but it all felt very performative from the Bengals side of things to make sure Joe Burrow was playing. Like, Joe Burrow is not the problem. He's not the reason why these teams are starting 0-2 or whatever in the regular season. To put him out there and expose him to risk, it just seems kind of silly to me.
So it does still seem silly, and it is not. He's 1-9, I think they said last night, in the first 2 weeks of the season in his career. But he's not the problem. So I would never have put him out there. I feel like they're doing this mostly to just take this off the list of reasons why they can't start well. But I joked with you guys on the phone last night. Like, I thought he was going to come out and do nothing and then run back to the sideline.
Oh, 3 handoffs.
And they're like, oh, he did. He played. But he played. I believe this is true. He played more snaps last night by itself than he had cumulatively played in his career in the preseason. And they were moving him around. He was throwing the ball down the field. Now, it was safer throws, a lot of sideline stuff. It wasn't over the middle. He didn't put Jamar Chase out to, he didn't hang him out to dry to get drilled by a safety in the middle of the field. So it was certainly a scale-back, safe playbook. But he played. He didn't just hide for 3 or 6 snaps. Like, they went out there and they did some things and they scored points.
Yeah, Jamar Chase like toe tapping down the sidelines. But anyway, I would assume that's probably the last we're going to see him. We are going to see some Patrick Mahomes. He always plays a little bit in the preseason. Josh Allen's going to be a no. I'm assuming Lamar Jackson's also going to be a no. Let's get to Peter Schwartz, who's got the latest and greatest for us. Hi, Peter.
Hello. We'll start with baseball. The Pirates blanked the Reds 7-0. Paul Skeens, 6 shutout innings, 7 hits. 8 strikeouts. He struck out 8, was pleased with his night. He was able to battle through.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you see what you're made of. I think that's the biggest thing. I think every time we go out there, we see what we're made of. But, sometimes when you get that, external pressure rather than internal pressure, I guess. If I'm pitching out of the windup, it's all internal pressure.
You see pitches better than he speaks. To the reporters afterward.
Listen, not everyone is blessed with both things, Not everyone can be a talker and be an all-time pitcher.
Yeah, personality is not his thing. That's fine.
We'll let it slide.
Skeens did allow 7 hits, so his major league record of starting a career with 46 straight starts of giving up 6 hits or less comes to an end. Now we'll go to Washington.
3-1. Thomas sends a charge to deep left center field. Young going back at the track, at the wall. It's a Colby Jack for the first time in the big leagues. The first of his career comes in Washington, D.C. It's 2-0 Athletics.
Ken Korak on A's radio, and the A's beat the Nationals 6-0.
Was that a cheese reference? A Colby Jack?
Jack.
That's what that was?
I think so.
That's how I read into it.
Okay.
You taking notes for when you do play-by-play for the basketball season?
I mean, I will not directly comment on that.
Put that one in the back pocket, maybe?
That's just, that's news to me. Now, not to nitpick your update, that's not Ken Korach. That guy's got a deep old voice.
Is that Vince Contraneo?
No, I don't even think that guy works for the A's anymore. I don't know that name. That was when you played the highlight, I first went, oh, who is that? That's a good voice. And then the Colby Jack reference is also new to me.
This is like CSI nerd.
Because I don't, thank you. Because I don't know who Colby is on the A's. It looks like it's Colby Thomas.
Yes, Colby Thomas.
Interesting. Okay.
What are you getting to the bottom of here, Bogues? It seems like you're solving a mystery.
I just want to I want to make sure that my inclination was right. And Colby Thomas gets a Colby Jack reference. That's a good cheese.
Yeah.
So I'll allow it. In the end, I'll allow it.
We need to find out who that announcer was then.
Yes, it's not the guy who...
Yeah, because it was not labeled, so I made the assumption, which, shame on me, that it was Ken Korak.
And that A's broadcast, that's a doozy. That's the dude who thought the ball was foul and it was 300 feet to the left and a home run in right center field.
Find out what happened with that? Because, I'm sure there's an explanation. He didn't just blow the call. It was just such a dead... It felt like it was, center right?
Yeah. It was not close
very
to a
fair.
foul ball. It was very fair. It was very gone. And he's a Carey. He's Chris Carey. I don't know.
Oh, Chip's son?
I don't, he might be somebody's grandkid already.
Okay.
I don't know the full lineage, but I know he's from the family. He went on Twitter the next day and did like a kind of a multiple tweet apology and explanation saying he lost it in the lights.
Listen, I think it happens. It's not, clearly he's not trying to blow the call.
No.
That's, I always feel bad for guys in that spot because you work so hard and who knows what happens. Someone's in your ear, someone gets in your way, something.
Yeah, and I think the problem was it was so stunningly wrong. And I like just if you didn't see this happened I think 2 weekends ago now, and they're in Houston and there's a ball hit the right center field and he said it's a foul ball. So, I mean, he's wrong by like 150 feet of field. So
maybe he needs to get his eyes checked or something.
Or, I mean, maybe
the lights really are bothering him. You know who I think about a lot because the last time Bogusch and I were hosting together, I made an opinion about Noah Lyles, the U.S. sprinter.
We've done this before?
That if you win a gold medal by 1/100th of a second, can you really claim that you're the fastest man alive? And I think about that a lot, not just because I continually get mean and threatening direct messages still to this day
from Noah Lyles.
No, he couldn't care less. He's too busy being the champion of the world.
Does the other guy follow you? The guy you followed the other day, is he your friend now?
He's my biggest champion. No, who I think about often is the guy who did the play-by-play there because he got it wrong.
Oh, that's right.
And he called that the guy from Jamaica won, I thought, right? And that Noah Lyles lost, and turns out he's wrong. And the bummer for that is you have to wait 4 years at your next crack at that. And I think about that. Sometimes we make mistakes on the show all the time or live radio. It happens. We've got a show the next day, hopefully. We get a show. We get to make up for it. We can come on. We can explain ourselves. And at least the guys who do baseball games, you don't have to wait a whole week for your next game. You can just go on the next day, do your mea culpa, and move on with your life.
And I think that guy just said, my bad. Like, I messed up. I got to be better. He didn't say I got confused by green and red or the lights or I fainted.
It was 1/100th of a.
Yeah.
It's millisecond, doesn't even nanosecond.
Yeah, right.
Like it was such a close race.
And that's an honest mistake. I mean, depending on your view of the finish line,
I know,
you
but
might
it's
see.
just, this is your moment, and I always feel bad for that. I'm like, how many hours of his therapist must be like, I can't talk about this anymore. Like, you want to do this again,
folks? Have you ever? Excuse me. Have you ever guessed? Like I did a football game years ago, and there were two receivers, and I couldn't tell which one caught the ball, and I literally guessed. Because you have to call the play. You have to call something. I was right, luckily. You had a 50-50 shot.
Flex.
But
have you gotten anything big time wrong like that?
So yes.
I mean, everyone does. Everyone makes mistakes.
The one that still bothers me, because you can't tell that I made the mistake in the moment. So I still have the clip saved from the end of a Delaware football game I was doing. this particular season, Delaware they had 3 running backs that they used almost equally, and they were numbers 21, 22, and 23. So, and by the end of the game, their jerseys are all and they
messed up.
And they were running kind of towards me. And for some reason, like this, and they were trying to run the clock out or whatever, so the guy just kept getting hands-offs. And for like the first 3 or 4, I was saying the wrong guy. And then he gets up and our truck puts a thing on with those updated stats, and they're using the right thing. And I'm like, it hasn't been Marcus Yarns the entire time.
Oh, no.
And so I'm like, I don't even know if anybody noticed. Yeah. But it drove me. It's still like right now I'm like, I'm angry because that was on me. Other times I've been, sometimes you get tricked by things. I thought a yellow leaf was a flag one time during a football game. Like that stuff happens.
Classic mistake.
But like that to me was like, that was lazy. How did you miss that? Like it's like, and football too, what's annoying is this in college, they have those stupid double numbers.
Oh, I know.
There's a 5 on offense and defense. Like that should be a crime.
That's why Bradley had to switch numbers last year.
Yeah, it's just so, I don't like that one.
They had double numbers on the team, but they wound up having 2 guys with the same number. You could have 2 players with the same number on the roster, but they can't both be on the field.
Right.
So they wound up both being on special teams. So after week 1, he had to switch his number.
I'll give you a good one. And this was not technically my fault, so I'm happy to tell the story. The comedian, Daniel Tosh, who was very, very famous.
Tosh 2.0.
Yes. His nephew played quarterback at Fordham. In fact, he's the best quarterback in the history of Fordham football. And his freshman year, he was kind of as
Is
much,
he funny?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
As highly as you can be on the FCS level, like him being there was a big deal, but he wasn't going to play right away. And then early in the year, game 2 or 3 of his freshman year, between people struggling and hurt, all of a sudden he walks on the field. And as you guys know, when we work games like that, there's a whole media note, a packet of stats and rosters and a pronunciation guide.
Yeah.
And the pronunciation guide had his last name, which is Demorat, spelled out Demorat.
Okay.
So he comes walking out, and we're like, this is not the plan, but things are bad. So here comes Tim Demorat, and he's slinging the ball around. Demorat. And then Daniel Tosh tweets,
"You idiots!
What are these idiots doing? Get my nephew's name right." But now that was not. We were just following orders.
Yeah.
But that's not fun.
Take it up with the athletic department.
Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Man. All right, Peter, that's where we got to leave it.
That was a heck of an update.
I know. Well, dynamite job. Okay. Ohio State quarterback battle. Let's get back to it. The maybe number 1, number 2 team in the country still has not named who their starting QB is. By the way, coming out of the gates with Texas. So you might want to get that nailed down. Got details next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Going to be an unbelievable kickoff to the college football season. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Bogish in for Andrew Perloff. And the crown jewel of this starting weekend is going to be Ohio State hosting Texas. But Ohio State, Bogues, still has a quarterback competition. So stop me if you've heard that one before. But this may be like kind of a Ryan Day staple. But right now it's between Julian Sayin and Lincoln Kleinholz. And it looks like they're kind of neck and neck. And I think the question we're asking is, can you really be considered the best or the second best team in the country when you have this big of a question?
And my quick answer is no. I don't mind a quarterback battle. I don't mind not knowing who's going to be the guy. But like by now, I feel like somebody should have separated themselves.
Yeah.
I think Eli Drinkwitz said the same thing there about his spot. Is like, they've been. Football's not like basketball. They do kind of get away for a while, but then there's a spring game, and then you're hanging around, and there's you're throwing here and there. Now you're back on campus, or you're into your training camp. It feels like, especially the pedigree, I guess maybe of Julian Sayin here is what is surprising, like that he has not grabbed this job and made it his, because I'm assuming he's the betting favorite. So the fact that I guess he's letting Lincoln Kleinholz hold, kind of hang around here. Maybe that's the troubling part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard, I think Danny Cannell said this recently, that, maybe there's a method to the madness here with Ryan Day that, being the starting quarterback for Ohio State is a job that is going to come with a ton of pressure, a ton of criticism, all of that. So maybe keeping somebody on your tail and on your heels this whole time maybe tries to get you ready for simulating what the pressure is going to be like when you actually get into the season, and that it's actually going to be Julian saying this whole time. But, I think that what's interesting is I think there's a lot of teams that could win the Big Ten. I don't think that there is this slam dunk, no doubt, is Ohio State or is Penn State so head and shoulders above everyone else? I think that you have Penn State has a lot of questions, even though they have the most returning starters, and there's no question about their quarterback. But the idea that, James Franklin can get you close, but can't, obviously, can't win the big one. I hate to do the cliche there, but that's what people say about him, and that's what the record reflects. And then let's see what happens with Oregon, who was almost a wire-to-wire number one team in college football last year, but then flames out against Ohio State in the college football playoff. I mean, Michigan is starting a true freshman. We could go down the list of all the – I'm not saying that these aren't good teams. They are. But is there a no-doubt slam dunk that Ohio State is the best team in the Big Ten?
No, and I think this is, however you want to look at it, a problem or a non-problem. It just everybody starts over again, and it's just the way things are now with portal and everything like that. It's just – it's so hard to track anybody from year to year because there's so much overall. We already talked about with Texas, where they're bringing almost nobody back, and they're number one in the coaches poll.
Yeah.
And that's probably mostly about Arch. And here's Ohio State. They're number 2, and they don't know who their quarterback is. They don't know. The only thing they know is who's going to catch the passes from the quarterback. Who's going to get the handoffs, who's blocking. That defense last year that they love to talk about was so old and experienced now. That's basically all new. So, how do we never have an idea of who's good in August, but at least we used to know, they were good last year, and 87% of their starters are coming back. This year, it's 3% are coming back. So how do we know?
Yeah.
It's about trust.
The one thing, though, I will say about Ryan Day and about Ohio State, I do trust them more than some of the other challengers here.
Yes,
right?
That's fair.
So I'll trust Ryan Day and Ohio State over Penn State. I would trust, listen, Ryan Day over, look what happened, in that Rose Bowl against Dan Lanning and against Oregon. Obviously, we love Oregon around here. Am I going to trust them more than Illinois, who everyone is this is a very sexy, darling pick coming off a 10-win season last year.
With a third-year starting quarterback.
Yeah, with Luke Altmaier, the starting quarterback. So, and then we can continue on from there. Is Indiana going to have another good season? USC, are we going to hear anything about USC? Nebraska, there are other teams in the Big Ten, but if you're asking me who do I trust, I still would give that nod to Ohio State, even though yesterday Ryan Day came out and said the competition is too close to call.
Yeah,
the quarterback competition.
I know you guys recently played that Tom Brady clip about there are no more programs anymore, but there still are
just teams.
Yeah, but I mean there still are kind of programs because the coaches are still there and the ideas are still the same, and you assume until they prove you otherwise, that they're holding guys to the same standards and that they're still recruiting as well as they always do. And I think that's where Ohio State and Texas live is you're voting them 1 and 2 because you believe in Sark and you believe in Ryan Day and you believe that it hasn't really mattered who their quarterback was. I mean, they've been an elite offense for his entirety there.
Yep.
With multiple quarterbacks and multiple receivers and multiple running backs. So you're betting and supporting them, not necessarily the specific players.
So the college football right out of the gate this year, unbelievable. So Texas at Ohio State is just one of the amazing games.
We got Fordham at BC, right? That one.
Oh, wow. Starting with Bill O'Brien, huh? Good luck.
Let's go. Get a check.
Alabama at Florida State. So that's going to be very interesting. Of course, you have Florida State can bounce back from a terrible season. And then LSU at Clemson. And by the way, if you were watching the internet yesterday, there were some serious rumors flying around about Garrett Nussmeier, the quarterback from LSU, and what injury he may or may not have sustained at practice. It was the internet was he's on a stretcher. And it's well, the reality is that he basically banged knees with a defensive tackle or defensive end that was, during practice, which I don't know why any defensive player is anywhere close to someone wearing a red jersey.
Yeah.
But that's for another day. And I guess they banged knees and now he's going to be, I don't even know if they have a delineation because college is so secretive, but it's not It's not as big as it made out to be on the internet yesterday, but it's not nothing.
We also had reporters in Houston, trusted guys, saying that C.J. Gardner-Johnson for the Texans tore his ACL. Like, didn't say they're fearful.
Oh, on the NFL side, yeah.
I think it was Aaron Wilson wrote he has a torn ACL. He's out for the year, and now he doesn't. He has a different ligament injury, so he's still hurt, but it's not ACL. But like, there were definitive reports that he had a torn ACL.
Man, that's crazy. Anyway, so LSU at Clemson is the other amazing one. And then we get Notre Dame at Miami, which is obviously chock full of cool history. And just for the, maybe not for the standings, but certainly for our interest, the North Carolina Tar Heels with Bill Belichick facing off against TCU. That's just week 1.
Yeah. And even, I can't remember who's playing. The Dublin game is the 23rd. Now that doesn't.
Yeah, the week 0?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's almost like the week -1. I feel like August 30th is week 0, but yeah, I mean, like it's here. It's crazy, but it's here. Like, it's time to really actually do previewing of games, not just teams and seasons.
It's time to start naming starting quarterbacks.
Yeah, that too.
888-710-4ISN. Which one of those are you looking forward to the most? Amazing opening slate for college football. Absolutely love it. Coming up, we do have a question about a quarterback battle. Got an update last night in the NFL. Do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
You happen to be checking out some preseason football box scores. You might see something from Ashton Jeanty that doesn't look great. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff on vacation. Andrew Bogish sitting in for him today. And Bogues, it was a finish of -1 yard for Ashton Jeanty, right? Didn't look great. We love Ashton Jeanty around here. How could you not? What a fantastic story from Boise State. And this is the problem with, I don't want to say like the media today or anything like that, but this is the problem sometimes when teams make mistakes, then the player ends up paying the price. And I have been really high on the Raiders. Tom Brady coming in, maybe some new ideas. You've got a new general manager, new head coach in Pete Carroll, who's got respect, can stabilize things. You know, Chip Kelly on offense. Like, you got a lot of names in the building now who have a lot of, you know, have had success and have a lot of respect. But, you know, when Perloff has sat here, he said, well, you still got the same bad owner in Mark Davis, and you still have like typical Raiders dysfunction because it's been like that for years and years and years. But here's the thing about where Ashton Jeanty may have a problem on his hands. Despite the fact they brought in Geno Smith, Bogues, and have Pete Carroll, I don't think the people believe the Raiders are going to be a really good team. They're still in the team building mode, right? To like microwave some kind of playoff run. I don't know if that's like really in the best interest of what the Raiders want to do. Now, I get getting back to respectability and you want to just be like a functional franchise and all of that, then I understand it. But Ashton Jeanty is a great player, was a luxury pick. You know, taking a running back in the top 10 is a luxury pick. And this was what, 6?
6.
There's clearly so much more to build around your team when you are picking 6th in the draft. Offensive line, defensive line. I know that they have addressed the offensive line in certain drafts, but this is the new regime who's coming in. And you don't want to do that boring pick, but be boring. Be boring and take that offensive lineman or defensive lineman because Ashton Jeanty can't do diddly squat if he is not running behind a very good line. It's just what we've known about football since we were all 5 years old.
We don't need to relitigate the whole running back value chart. I'll just say that I don't think taking the best player you think that's available is a luxury pick, no matter what his position is. And in retrospect, the guys that came after Ashton Jeanty might not have been worthy of being the 6th pick. I mean, I have the list up in front of me again just to remind myself of who came after him. And it's Armand Membu, Tet McMillan, Kelvin Banks, an offensive lineman, Colston Loveland, not the tight end that we thought was going to be taken at that spot.
Yep, that was a surprise.
So, there was should they have maybe traded back from there? But, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, I understand that for a long time, and I was about to give up the argument, but I'm going to defend the value of running backs. I just am. I think you also need good players. We sit here, you guys make fun of my Giants fandom, and part of the problem is the Giants just don't have good players.
Right.
Like, they just, period, don't have talent. So, and I think Ashton Genty's going to be a good NFL player, and I'm not going to get too carried away by the first preseason game when the offensive line didn't block for him and he immediately had dudes in Seahawks jerseys right in front of him. And I'm going to defend the pick to his, for a while because, they're not necessarily, they need to fix things, but they signed Geno Smith, which is a win now thing.
Yeah.
And Ashton Genty should, in theory, make things easier for Geno Smith. So it's only one game. It's only 3 carries. It's a preseason game. And I didn't mind the pick when they made it. What is this now? 3 months ago? 3.5 months ago? I can't sit here this morning and say anything other than that.
Right. And the reason why you bring up your Giants fandom is because the Giants famously took Saquon Barkley 2nd overall when they clearly were still kind of had their eye on who was going to be the heir apparent to Eli Manning, yet they thought they could get one more good season out of Eli and said, we'll give him, and the GM at the time said that Saquon Barkley was touched by the hand of God. And that's what he said. And it turns out he was, but God's an Eagles fan. So, I know, I'm just
Or at
kidding.
least not a Giants fan.
It was maybe on 2 nights where you beat the
Quentin
Patriots.
Nelson was right there.
Well,
if you,
he was.
if you
Yes.
want to extend Eli's career.
And the great offensive lineman, and so that's why you bring up your Giants with this. And you're right, Jahmyr Gibbs was a fantastic pick. It was criticized actually at the time.
It was.
But the Lions have the last laugh. But you know what? The Lions were ready for a weapon like that. It was another weapon because they had already taken Penei Sewell and they had already invested in that offensive line so much that Jared Goff can come in and look like an MVP candidate at times, and they have all these amazing offensive weapons, and you can go for it on every 4th down imaginable in Dan Campbell's dreams until and for the end of time. The Raiders don't like that. They're not there. And I'm not saying Ashton Genty's never going to gain a yard in the NFL. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I have been someone who has been high on the Raiders and looking for reasons about why they can be respectable or push to make some noise in this very difficult AFC West. And I just keep getting reminded why mediocre or bad teams stay that way. It's because they make moves that ultimately are empty. And that's what I worry about a bit. If you are not ready to capitalize on Ashton Genty, then why did you take the pick? Because he's not going to be the last great running back to come into the draft.
Right, but I also can flip that and go, I still think that for whatever reason, people remember less than impactful like running backs than other places. Like there are plenty of tackles that don't hit.
That's true.
And so you go, oh, well, at least he was a tackle. But so they take a tackle at number 6 instead, right? And now this guy's blocking for who? Okay, fine. You're protecting Geno Smith, but teams aren't afraid of our run game, so they're teeing off on guys, or they're dropping everybody back in coverage, so there's no place for Geno to throw. You need to find talent, and I actually brought the Giants up just from a talent perspective, not specifically about Saquon, but that obviously connects to this as well. But the Giants were wrong on too many picks at all different positions in between Saquon in the last couple of years. So you have to have good football players to win games. And sometimes positions can get out of whack and the value can be this or that. And again, looking at this list again, it's the way I felt the morning after the first round. I like the pick, and at the moment, I'm going to probably be proven wrong, but I don't know that anybody that comes in the handful of picks after Genty at number 6 is a guy that I'm banging the table going right now, why don't the Raiders have him?
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, we're talking about Ashton Genty ended the first preseason outing with -1 yard. Listen, it doesn't mean anything for him. It's just...
Pat Boyle said he's a bust on the show before this one.
We love Pat. But, it's just, was that the luxury pick that the Raiders actually didn't need, right? Did they still need to be building in the trenches? They still need to be, building the foundation of a great football team. When I think of positional value, I don't think of the running back as the one that builds. I think of Saquon Barkley as the cherry on the top. Derrick Henry is the cherry on the top. Now, they're huge parts of the offense, but they are like the last piece that maybe comes together when you've already have one of the great offensive lines or great defensive lines.
But if we're going to use Saquon, the last time Saquon was Saquon as a Giant, they made the playoffs because of him, because he was that good and he made everything easier and better for Daniel Jones. So that was not the cherry on the sundae. He was the ice cream, and he made everything else taste delicious.
Yeah,
Did that
also,
work well?
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Also, Daniel Jones stayed healthy for that season. And meanwhile, you can weigh in on the Raiders at 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. And I want Ashton Genty to be in a successful spot because he is a fun running back to watch. I just don't know if the Raiders are ready for him. And then by the time you do get yourself, like the Raiders are kind of hard to figure out in general because it's a team that looks like it'd be ripe for a rebuild. Yet they did go with a 73-year-old Pete Carroll.
Right.
They went with Geno Smith. They're bringing in Jamal Adams. They paid Max Crosby instead of trading him.
Yeah.
Like they're giving you all the signals that we are like a go-for team, but you don't have nearly enough talent to actually be considered a contender, like let alone a playoff contender. I'm not even talking about Super Bowl. So it's very, very odd. Again, 888-710-4ISN.
But at least it fits. Because, to yank back to the Giants of Barkley and be mad over this, that's now, how many years old? The problem with picking Saquon was that it felt like 35 seconds later, the Giants went, actually, we probably should be in a rebuild.
Yeah, like they tried to do both.
They picked Barkley to play with Eli, and then we're like, we need a new quarterback. The Raiders, as long as they stick to this plan, the pick will always make sense because of all the things that you just laid out. Signing Geno makes them have to go and get people that can be good right now.
Yeah.
And paying Crosby instead of trading him and turning him into multiple assets means you've got to go pick guys that are good right now. And Genty was as confident as you can be in anybody in his little sector of that first round of hitting in the NFL. He's at top of the league. We love the guy. Now, if you want to have a football conversation that he's too short or the weird, like he stands wrong, that's
whatever.
That's fine. But like in just a theory conversation of you should never take a running back at number 6. Like I just don't agree with that at face value. When it's part of the plan and the guy is that good, you can take anybody at number 6. They just have to hit, and you don't know if he's hitting or not based off of last night.
888-710-4ISN. Just trying to get the odds that the Raiders make the playoffs, hovering around plus 330. Lowest odds in the division to, make the playoffs, be a Super Bowl, not even close to being Super Bowl. So you can weigh in on that. You mentioned the Giants. You mentioned Daniel Jones. He was on the field last night a lot earlier than maybe the Colts had expected. Anthony Richardson started the game, but he got absolutely rocked.
Super sack A.
It was a super sack A where it was decided that for sacks like that, we need a bigger name. Like not all sacks are created equal. Sometimes you catch a guy by the shoelace and it's a sack. This was not that.
We need to get an isolated feed of Maggie's mic so it doesn't matter if anybody laughs over it or jump steps over it because, again, what did you just say? All sacks not created equal? Or
yeah, I did.
They come in different sizes?
They all different shapes and sizes, all not equal.
Is there a wine juice box over there already?
No, that's for later today at the town pool. David Ojabo he will never have an easier sack in his life, and it's almost a shame it happened in the preseason for him because it's not going to go down as like an official stat.
It's on our TV right now. I mean, the lack of awareness from Anthony Richardson, from Richardson here, that he just doesn't feel this huge human being torpedoing at his chest. He doesn't, even at the last minute. The first move Richardson makes is recovering from the headshot to his chest.
Yeah, I don't mean to laugh about it. I mean, he's fine. So, like, it's not like
he can make light of it.
Well, he didn't get carted off the field. His pinky is currently facing the wrong direction, but that will heal. And it's dislocated, but they'll put it back in place. And he was standing on the sidelines for the rest of the game, so he's actually okay. He's he gets hurt a lot, but he's a tough dude. He's a big guy. Oh. But to say that he has not developed an internal clock yet is probably an understatement because David Ojabo basically did the electric slide. He could have cabbage patched over there, and they just had no idea what was coming. Anyway,
and according to all the guys, the QB guys that break video down, Richardson should have known that guy was going to run free to begin with, the way they were aligned.
Yeah, well, he didn't get that message.
Yeah.
So he got hurt and he's knocked out of the game on the first drive. So in comes Daniel Jones. And what's a bummer about this, after we not again making light of the fact the guy got lit up, but it just doesn't really seem like it's working for Anthony Richardson. And this was really the one thing that the Colts fan had to be even interested in this year. I know it's not a terrible roster, But you have a quarterback competition between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, which feels a little lame on its surface. But at least you had hope that, all right, Richardson could develop, and he is an exciting guy. I mean,
yes,
he can throw a 50-yard bomb. He just really can't complete a 5-yard out route. It's one of those types of things. But he's the hope. And if he's already has a dislocated finger, and if he's going to be hurt or he is still not getting it or look like he's developing, you have just no reason to tune in.
Yeah, and it's just the weaknesses portion of his like draft profile. It's one of the most correct in the history. Like everything that paragraph said about his like lack of like expertise in the nuances of the position, the arm, the speed, the body size. You'd pray for that.
Yeah.
But technically speaking, he wasn't a good quarterback. And the fear was that's hard to learn when you're playing right out of the chute in the NFL. And here we are, and this is all of the same stuff. Bad footwork, bad recognition, bad feel in the pocket. These are all the things that people said he was bad at coming out of college, and he's still bad at them now.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a guy who did need more college.
Yeah.
Where not Arch Manning necessarily. Well, we don't know about Arch. He hasn't played yet, although the Mannings insist that he's going to do a senior season, or at least his grandfather said that yesterday. Anthony Richardson, in retrospect, probably should have done a little more college, but at the same time, and he was
taking a year abroad,
top 4 pick. Go live in Barcelona for a little.
Like a gap year.
He did get paid. You know, he's a top 4 pick. That's $20 million right in the bank account the moment you shake Roger Goodell's hand, pretty much. So, can you really say that he messed up? But it's not looking awesome right now. 888-710-4ISN, and put on top of it not just the physical skills. Well, physically, he's awesome, but the technical skills, he did take himself out of a game. I've never seen anything like that before. I've never seen a quarterback in the middle of a drive who's not hurt take himself out of a game because he was, like, exhausted. Like, that just, Nico's tapping the head. You can't.
I don't think it's ever been done before.
He got benched for it.
On any level of football. Like, I don't even think a Pop Warner quarterback would go, I got to get off for a second.
Well, that's the whole thing about being on offense. You always got the juice, you know? It's like you're always pumped up. Look at basketball players. Look at the guys who give up so much more effort on offense and defense because, like, this is your moment.
And the other side of the equation is, right, like, if you're in the correct shape as the quarterback, you should never be that winded.
Yeah, which is the irony. You know, we make fun of Mahomes with the dad bod, and Anthony Richardson looks like he's chiseled out of a piece of granite, and who had to take themselves out of a game.
Right. Yeah, it's not looking good. And then Daniel Jones walks in, and you get the full Daniel Jones. Like, there's weird throws, there's whatever.
Everything's
and then
low.
But then he's running around throwing it across his body for completions. You're like, oh, all right. Like, that's a unique skill set. Like, that's a thing we could build on. So, but I don't think, obviously, either one of them is the long-term answer.
He's terrible.
Yeah. I'm just also just like, I've seen enough.
But he's good at every once in a while. If you're new to him, he's good at tricking you for a little bit. He bides his time.
Yeah.
It's like 2 bad throws, and then one throw that most guys don't make. You're like, oh, all right, okay. And then, oh, those are 2 bad. Oh, there's another good one. Like, he's very good at stringing you along.
Good on paper.
Yeah. Or like just the girl, like, it's like non-committed, like you're asking her out, you're hanging out. Like, he's the 43 proposal guy. You keep asking Daniel Jones, I want to marry you. I want you to be my long-term QB1.
Yeah.
And then he keeps going, no. But then he does something cool. Like, so you ask again, and then he spikes one. But then there's a beautiful throw on the run. Like, I'm going to ask again.
Yeah,
or he runs 75 yards and trips on the 3-yard line, doesn't score a touchdown.
Yeah, Turf Monster gets everybody. That was a tough one.
Quintessential backup quarterback.
But he doesn't say healthy enough, I don't think, even to be a backup. But I think that's what he is now. Bogusch talking about a story that from People magazine from a couple of weeks ago where a guy asked his girlfriend to marry him 42 times, and she said no. And then on the 43rd time, she said yes. And we asked, like, who was more to blame? I thought she was to blame. Like, you can't be stringing this guy along for 42 proposals. Like, just... And then you're going to say yes, so now what? Now you're messing with his head even more.
No, it's like a 51-49 thing. I don't know who the winner is, but it's basically equal. You can't ask 40 times, and then you can't say yes on 41. They all suck. You can't say no that many times, and you can't keep asking. You can't be that heinous of a person that you have no other options.
Can you imagine the kids eventually in this? Like, so what what's the mommy and daddy's proposal story? It's like, well, which of the 42 would you like?
Oh, I mean, my kids already want to punch me when I make jokes about how long it took my wife to like me. This guy and this story, I mean, they was going to leave him.
Talk about settling. At that point, the settle is built into the proposal, right?
That's not even the right word.
You've been badgered to finally say yes. But I'm telling you, I blame her. Nico, you look like you want to say something.
Did he actually make this a big deal all 42 times?
I don't think we know that,
public,
do we?
Get on a knee with the ring.
We don't know about all 42. Thank goodness.
50 first dates.
But yeah, maybe she has some kind of brain thing or she doesn't remember the first 42. No, but you guys, I don't know if you saw this, but the look, unfortunately, on executive producer E.J. Stewart's face when he realized when she finally said yes on the 43rd proposal was the same place that he proposed to his fiance. So he's like, this was their words. I never called them losers. Perloff and EJ called them losers, and you called them losers. He said, EJ said, I can't believe I got engaged where these losers got engaged. And it turns out what he said to her was the same thing verbatim that EJ said to Andrea.
Was it superhero related?
No, it was
Will you be my Batgirl?
He was. Oh God!
Wow! Off the top rope.
Or was it wrestling
Batgirl,
themed?
his niece? Anyway, I don't know. But details.
I want you to be my tag team partner for life.
Oh, God. Oh, God. No, EJ.
And these are the guys you want to hang out with, Maggie.
EJ proposed at the Prime Meridian and said something about time and space. I wasn't really paying attention, but it was very beautiful. But it turns out it's what that other guy said.
Maybe it's a good thing you don't get invited to things bogus.
Yeah.
Well, who knows what Maggie says about me when I'm not around?
And I know, I'm like, can you believe you waited around for Katie all those years? Chasing her around like
talk
that?
About settling.
All through high school?
What was she thinking?
Yeah, I mean, you guys were babies, so I think you get a pass.
That's her argument. I don't buy it still.
888-710-4ISN. Oh, it's funny that your kids are giving you flack for that.
Oh, you know me, I lay it on pretty thick, so everyone, and they we get it, Dad. He's doing it again.
You're like a stand-up comic that's got your bits.
Yep.
Dad, do the mom hates you thing again. Okay. Speaking of which,
new material.
There was another thing that came up yesterday. We'll get to it in a moment about something that you offered to your kids, and they just gave you a huge,
a better dad,
just a stiff arm.
Yeah, no, they you know what? In retrospect, they treat me like you guys treat me. They just continue to dismiss all suggestions of fun involving me. Yeah, there's a thread.
We'll get to that. And again, you can weigh in on the Raiders. So Ashton Genty last night, not awesome, -1 yard. But it's not about last night. Was this actually the wrong pick for a Raider team that needs way more help than just one great running back? Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Perloff Show. Andrew Bogish in for Andrew Perloff today. Bogues, you just saw something about Caleb Williams that could be of interest to our audience.
Yes, no Caleb Williams in preseason game number 1 for the Bears. So I guess we're free now. I've not heard Ben Johnson's explanation here, but I guess we're free to wonder what this means. Do they like where Caleb is, or do they not like where he is and they don't want him to go out there, or maybe he's just already earned that kind of like unquestioned QB1 veteran guy. We're not risking it, even if he's still struggling here early in camp.
Yeah, so the Bears are hosting the Miami Dolphins, and we'll see. I'm sure Ben Johnson will have some kind of explanation, whether it's maybe he'll play the 3rd preseason game or what have you, but it is you do wonder, all of the negative headlines that have been coming out of Bears training camp, are they just not ready to put the product on the field yet? Because where I would think the preseason would be very beneficial to someone like Caleb Williams, from what I'm reading,
right?
What some of the issues are is getting in and out of the huddle and getting all the pre-snap penalties. And I heard Aaron Rodgers say something about this, about, playing the preseason. Yeah, during practice, we're working with the play clock, but if you're a couple seconds, getting the ball late snapped, they're not going to necessarily stop practice for that, or they're not going to dock you for that. In the game, you actually are. You're going to get flagged. So in some ways, it can be really good. I wondered, when it's procedural stuff, is the preseason then the best chance to try to iron out that? Because, in practice, it's going to be, you can cut corners a little bit more.
Yeah, which was one of the Bengals' issues going back to our conversation about whether or not Burrow should be out there. There was that one game, but that was late in the season. I think it was a Tennessee game where they had like eight false starts.
Yeah. Sorry, I just shook my head.
Yeah, that's a preposterous number. That's like 43 proposals. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt here that this is them, and I don't know, and maybe I should. I don't know what the status is of the other guys around him on that offense because he can't play if they're resting 3/5 of their starting offensive line, stuff like that. I think this is more about just like we need to iron a couple of things out. We can't run the risk of any injury. We only wanted to play one preseason game, and that'll be the week 2-1.
Interesting. It looks like I was trying to look up really quickly if J.J. McCarthy is going to be playing in the first preseason game. It looks like he is, according to Google AI Overview, which is wrong 99% of the time. So maybe Nico can double check me on that. But I think he is playing, and I kind of look at J.J. McCarthy, not the same as Caleb Williams, because Caleb actually did play last year and J.J. McCarthy didn't, but they both kind of feel like rookies to me in a weird way. Caleb because he's with a whole new system and a whole new coaching staff, and J.J. because he actually is seeing the field for the first time, but McCarthy is going to play.
And he probably should.
Yeah, he should.
Now, because he,
although he got hurt and then had a second cleanup on a knee issue,
I
so
know.
Maybe it's easier for us to say that.
And I don't even, what's plan B there? Nick Mullins again? Who's the second guy in Minnesota after all of this?
I think it is Mullins.
So there is an argument to protect him because he has to be healthy for week 1. But you also, he is as important as any singular player in the NFC, determining how good the Vikings actually are.
I'm sorry, it's Sam Howell.
Same.
Yeah. No, Brett Rippon. Sam Howell and then Brett Rippon.
Okay. And again,
what did you say? He's the most. What did you say?
He is one of the singular most important players in the NFC. JJ McCarthy
in the NFC or the NFC North?
No, in the entire conference.
How'd you arrive there?
Because if he's good, then they are once again have the ability to win the conference. If he's not good, then it's going to matter much less how creative Brian Flores' defense is. So it's not a pressure like Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson to get to the Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl, but his performance and what he allows them to do, however far he can push them in terms of opening up the playbook, trying more things, making them more dynamic, repeating basically what Sam Darnold did. If he can do that, then they might win 12-plus games again.
Sure.
And maybe this time they survive a playoff game. But if he's a rookie quarterback and there's too many bumps in the road, or maybe I didn't like J.J. McCarthy coming out of college. I was spooked by Michigan not letting him throw the football. I didn't get it. If he is worst case scenario from that, going back to that argument, then they're cooked.
Right, but is their window that tight that if he doesn't have a good year, that means it's over for the Vikings?
This is a 2025 specific thing. This is this
year. So,
year.
if he struggles, then they just run it back in next year where he's got a little more experience.
Right.
And it doesn't feel so do or die for me for the Vikings.
No one's going to lose their job over this, but if he is the number one thing on that decides the Viking season and the rest of that team is good enough, then they won 14 games last year.
No, I get it.
So, if everything else stays the same and he can copy Sam Darnold to, 85% of Darnold, now they're winning 12 games, and now they're in the conversation of hosting a playoff game, winning multiple playoff games. Everything turns on him for them.
I got to think about that. 888-710-4ISN. Is he the most, what'd you say, important?
One of the most important players in the NFC. And obviously all quarterbacks are by default, but the Eagles can survive better. This is not going to come out right. But the Eagles, we know what Jalen Hurts is. So part of it is we just don't have a J.J. McCarthy answer. I know what Jalen Hurts is going to give me.
Sure.
I know that Jaden Daniels, the conversation is how much better can he be in another year in Washington. It's not, is he good or not?
Right. Yeah, the unknown on McCarthy is the big deal. Okay, I see what you're doing there. Peter Schwartz is here with updates for us. Give us something good, Pete.
We will start with something good, and that is Paul Skeens. He was on the mound last night for the Pirates against the Reds.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch popped up center field. Cruz back a few steps. He will glove it. 6 more shutout innings for the amazing Paul Skeens, and he'll leave to a standing ovation.
Greg Brown had the call on Pirates Radio. The Pirates shut out the Reds 7-0. Paul Skeens, 6 shutout innings. He struck out 8, and he was pleased with his night.
Yeah, I had to grind through it a little bit at times, but thought my execution when I needed it was good, so I was happy with it.
Skeens had an off night in a way. He allowed 7 hits, so his major league record of starting a career with 46 straight starts of giving up 6 hits or less comes to a crashing end. Now to Atlanta, where the Marlins and Braves, they were tied at 6 in the 7th inning.
Runners take off. Pitch on the way. Chopper slowly hit out to short. Charging Lopez. Scoops and fires low. And it gets by Wagaman. That's going to give the Braves a lead. It's in the camera well. Put the pressure on Lopez, and he fired low to first base, and it gets by Wagaman, and the Braves are on top 7-6 in the 7th.
That was Joe Simpson on Braves Radio, and the Braves go on to beat the Marlins 8-6. You also had the A's over the Nationals 6-0 last night. Jacob Lopez, 7 2/3, no runs, 3 hits, 10 strikeouts. And in 11, the Mariners walked it off against the White Sox 4-3. NFL preseason, Ravens over the Colts 24-16. We've talked about it this morning. The injury to Anthony Richardson, a dislocated right pinky. It looked terrible. It was in a completely different direction than it should have been in. And he suffered that in the first quarter when he was sacked.
It was weird. He hit me, and then I was trying to make sure I had the ball, and I just looked down, and I see my finger different direction. I'm like, maybe I'm tripping. And I looked at it again, and it was definitely like that. So it's like I got to get this thing popped back in place, but I'm good, though.
I mean, to be fair, he did hang on to the ball.
He did.
It wasn't a super sake and a fumble, which it's kind of growing on me, Nico. What is like the elevated term for when a sack comes that's that big?
I watched.
Like, that also didn't come out well. You know what I'm saying? That's that impactful.
I saw the clip again, and it kind of looked like a crash test dummy.
Yeah, kind of.
Almost. So maybe that's, you work that into it.
The super slow-mo is like it's like when a boxer gets punched in the face in super slow-mo and the sweat's going everywhere and the spit.
Ripples in his cheek.
Yeah. That's
slow-mo of a Rocky movie.
Would you be okay if we sold in the Maggie and Perloff store a T-shirt with you and like crazy 80s fire graphics saying Super Sake?
I mean, yeah, if I get a cut of the proceeds, sure.
For the Ravens last night, Keaton Mitchell ran for 68 yards, a touchdown on 9 carries. Ravens rookie cornerback Bilal Cohn suffered a torn ligament in his left knee. That was ugly. He'll be out for the entire season. In Seattle, the Raiders and Seahawks were tied at 23, so some high drama in the final seconds when Raiders kicker Daniel Carson came out to attempt a potential game-winning 55-yard field goal. Here's what happened.
And that's blocked. And this one is going to end in a tie in Seattle. As big number 5'6" gets up and Jalen Gaines blocks that kick. And this game, Mike Robb, is going to end much to Pete Carroll's chagrin in a tie.
Coach Carroll's like, you ruined my perfect night. I almost had it.
That was Kate Scott and Michael Robinson on Seahawks television. The Seahawks and Raiders played to that 23-all tie. Raiders head coach Pete Carroll making his return to Seattle, where he was a longtime head coach.
It was cool to be here. I loved it here. I've always loved the whole, the whole experience that we had here, all those years together and all of that. And I don't forget that, and I don't disrespect that one bit. But it didn't translate to something crazy to me. It was just an opportunity to play in a great setting.
Not often you play a preseason game in a great setting, so maybe he was exaggerating that just a little bit last night.
Yeah, not exactly like when Russell Wilson went back to Seattle for the first regular season game after he had left to be a Denver Bronco. Also, I just don't, respectfully, I don't believe him. You have to see people you weren't expecting, the ushers, the people who are working, the support staff. Like, that's got to be a bit emotional, no?
I would think so.
He's not a robot.
No, I would hope not. I don't think you could be as successful a coach as he's been and just be a robot.
No, so it's okay.
Belichick was a robot a little bit.
Yeah, it turns out there's more to Belichick than meets the eye, though, is there not?
Mm-hmm. Raiders quarterback Aiden O'Connell threw for 205 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Also last night, NFL preseason action, it was the Eagles over the Bengals, 34-27. Joe Burrow did play for the Bengals, 9 of 10, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Chargers Pro Bowl left tackle Rashawn Slater out for the season with a ruptured patellar tendon suffered in practice on Thursday. Texan safety Jimmy Ward was arrested Thursday night for the second time in 2 months. He was arrested on a warrant related to a felony offense. And this note from the WNBA last night, the Mercury beat the Fever 95-60. Alyssa Thomas had 18 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists. First player in WNBA history to have 3 straight triple-doubles.
Wow.
And not in that game, but I think there's another green you-know-what thrown last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's an epidemic. It is. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Someone has come forward to claim that they are the, and I'm going to use the air quotes here, mastermind behind all of the sex toys that have been thrown on the court at the WNBA.
I was watching a clip of a podcast that Sophie Cunningham was on.
She's got her own podcast.
And I think it was hers. Maybe it was hers. I just saw the clip on the train this morning. And it was kind of weird. She was kind of like having fun with it. Like she was laughing about it.
Yeah, she has taken that tact, which I understand. You kind of want to like, oh, it's just a joke or whatever. But now it's getting to the point where not as funny maybe as the first time. And 2, it hits someone's got some really bad aim here. So
she almost got hit by one in the night.
She almost got hit, but then somebody got hit watching a game. A guy got hit in the back of the head with the sex toy and was there to watch the game with his 9-year-old niece. It's like, now.
How do you explain that?
Well, you don't. You know,
you just go home and you never see your niece again.
No, not that. You just like that. Yeah, exactly. Like it's just not. It's not funny anymore.
It came up in conversation in our house the other day.
Yeah, what'd your sons have to say about it?
They giggled.
Yeah.
And I left the room.
Solid parenting there.
I said, let's go to the mall. Let's go have some lunch.
Yeah. Maggie, you haven't gotten to this stage yet.
No.
It's not good when you find out what your kids know about like adult things.
Oh, right. The fact they weren't like, what is that?
Yeah.
Was that?
Yes. You don't want to know when they know curse
clearly
words.
knew what it was.
Yes. You don't want to know those. That's a bad moment.
Yeah.
When like, or like when you're watching a show and they laugh at something. Because like my kids now think Modern Family is hilarious. And it is. but there are very adult topics and jokes. And they'll laugh at some of them. And I want to be like, why are you laughing at that?
Yeah. There's a great scene. Do you guys remember the movie Billy Madison? Obviously, Adam Sandler's very much in the news.
Even Nico knows it.
Good. I'm glad.
That's a classic.
It's a classic.
It's in black and white, right?
Classic comedy. And it's, I think, Sandler's best, Billy Madison.
Ooh, okay.
And there's a joke there where he's like in the 3rd grade, right? When Billy's in the 3rd grade. And they go, all right, everybody, open up your books to the story, My Sister Fanny. And everyone goes, ha, 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 because they're in 3rd grade. And the teacher goes, page 69. And he goes, ha, ha, ha. And all the kids are silent. So you're saying.
And he's begging for a laugh. Like, ha,
yeah. So you're saying when your kids laugh at that joke, all of a sudden you're like, oh no.
Get me a second wine juice box.
Yeah. That comes up.
Give me a case.
Time to chug.
That comes up. I send them in to my wife. Like, go ask mom about that.
I'm sure she's delighted.
Yes, absolutely.
way to be a team player. All right. We got to take a quick break. Coming up, we will talk, again, the mastermind, if you will, behind this, the sex toy scandal has come forward. Kind of. We've got some details for you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie and Perloff Show, Bogusch in for Pearl today. And this NASCAR race preview is sponsored by WeatherGuard Truck and Van Equipment. They're just as driven as the hardworking pros they serve. So many tires out today. We hand it over to Nico. What's up, Nico?
Yeah, so this weekend, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is headed to Iowa Speedway for the Iowa Corn 350. Brad Keselowski is the current favorite at plus 350. The race kicks off on Sunday afternoon at 3:30 Eastern Time.
Fantastic. So just put that on your calendars. Meanwhile, we do have a little bit of an update on what's been going on at all these WNBA games. It's really gotten out of hand. I mean, we long past the point, Bogusch, of being like completely disrespectful to the women who are playing basketball. Someone's been throwing some sex toys on the court. It's gotten now dangerously close to the players, which is definitely a safety risk, but also like hitting patrons in the back of the head. A guy got hit who's brought his 9-year-old niece to the game. I mean, all right, got it. But we're wondering, like, is this just copycats? Did one person do it one time? We all laughed about it. And now it's just been game after game after game. Well, the person behind it allegedly came forward to KFC at Barstool, Kevin.
Of course.
Who, we know and it does a great job, especially with stuff like this. When he needs to sniff out some weirdo, he can call them on their BS like amazingly. So here is it turns out the person who's throwing the person who's responsible for the idea to throw these green sex toys out onto the court is actually trying to start a revolution, guys, of getting humor back into everyday life, but also please buy our cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And if that eye roll that I just heard across America wasn't enough, I mean, what a bunch of losers.
Yeah, and I believe he goes in this interview under the acronym of GDC, green blank coin.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, so he sucks.
Yeah, so he's terrible, and KFC did a great job calling him out on all of his hypocrisies. Here's a little of what it sounded like. Just want to take our word for it of how insufferable this dude is.
No, like it's more than money. Like for me, like this is about culture, right? Like meme culture has deteriorated. All of the projects.
Are you talking like the quality of memes? Hang on. You got to like explain what you don't think they're funny anymore. You don't like the quality of them. You think that they're all just designed to make money. What do you mean the meme quality has declined?
Yeah, like so they're all designed to make money. It's the same people behind all of the same tokens. And they're not funny anymore, right? Memes are supposed to make you laugh.
Yo. I mean, Kevin Clancy did a great job with this, but I mean, dude, you sound like such a gigantic loser. And it's like, by the way, you are also just trying to get, publicity off of the lowest common denominator. You're not changing the culture. You're throwing something at women and trying to cape off of their success, and it's just silly and stupid.
The only silver lining, I guess, from this admission, if it's 100% true, is that this is not specifically overtly like a sexist, masochistic statement on like throwing that at a woman.
It's not just anti-woman.
Right.
It's pro-crypto.
Right.
Lovely.
I mean, how do we get rid of this person? Like, what's the crime? What jail do they go to?
Just so you know, they wouldn't reveal their face on camera.
Of course
not. So it was just, okay. And this portion of the show was brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. Not that part of the program.
What comes after?
We're about to talk about right now. That is brought to you by
politics.
Wesley Financial. No, that is sports. And the question,
Religion.
Bogues, is, which we didn't get to enough today, and we will get to it, which is Travis Hunter, who is going to be on both offense and defense for the Jacksonville Jaguars in their preseason game this Saturday. And outside of Shedeur Sanders, his teammate Travis Hunter is the other must-see thing I want to watch this weekend when it comes to preseason football. It's not often we say that about the preseason, that anything is must-see, but Shedeur starting and then Travis Hunter attempting to play offense and defense has got to be it.
And I think they listed him as a starting wide receiver and a backup corner.
Yep.
I think that's correct, right?
Yep.
I'm here for this. It feels a little Ohtani-esque in terms of like, is it smart to do both? Can you be as good as so like that remains to be seen, but put him out there and let's go. Throw him passes, throw in his direction on defense. Because as much as I love Ohtani, like this is the football version of it. And selfishly, I would like it to work.
Yeah, well, he wants it to work also, Travis Hunter, that is. And to me, I don't understand it in the regular season because I think that it's going to shorten his career. I certainly don't understand it in the preseason. If you are just doubling your chances of getting hurt by playing on both offense and defense, and it's one thing if you're going to do it in a game, but I hate to sound like Allen Iverson here, but we're basically doing this in practice. I mean, it's a preseason game. It's not practice, but it means absolutely nothing. So to waste these reps and expose yourself to the potential to getting hurt in a preseason game, to me, is beyond stupid.
I'll give you double exposure, but aren't you maybe learning that it doesn't work in the preseason as opposed in week one?
He's so hell-bent on doing this, though, that I think the Jags have understood, like, we are acquiescing here. Like, we are letting the player make the determination and make the decision. But I would save this up for the regular season because you're going to have to ease him into it anyway. I mean,
right.
The idea that he would play a full, offense and defense, like game one. I remember when I used to do a show with Bart Scott, he would tell me Bart was a huge trash talker, right? Not surprisingly. He goes, the only time I didn't talk trash was week one because everyone's so winded and you are so catching your breath. You cannot talk any smack week one. So I doubt that he would get out there week one, but they're going to ease him into it. That's going to happen whether you play the preseason or not.
Unless he's so winded in the preseason, he goes, you guys are right. Let's pick one. I can't do this for real.
You think that he does a mea culpa? He can't. Now he's stuck. Now you got to do it, bro. Now you got to smoke the whole pack. Nico Scarlottos, thank you. Great job. Ray Jarvis, great job. Andrew Kaplan behind the scenes, just phenomenal. Peter Schwartz, thank you, Bogish. Awesome as always. And we will see you back here on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.